What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
8p. Chapter 141 Arriving at Wano-kuni, Blackbeard is down. Advertise here. The gate of summoning appeared in midair, but it was not very high. For Sister Bauer, there was absolutely no problem in jumping from that height. Su Mu went to hug her down, but only expressed her warm welcome. Who is it? Is this girl a baby? Hey, Su Mu, why didn't you greet me like this when I came? Long Wan said dissatisfiedly from the side. Big sister, you are someone who can fly, can you use me? Su Mu retorted. Bah, you're clearly a glutton. Dragon Roll pouted and broke Su Mu's mouthful. It's pure slander, don't you see that my eyes are full of purity? Of course Su Mu wanted to protect her face. In front of so many people, how can you be like LSP? Hey, Long Wan put his hips on his hips and snorted coldly. Everyone, let me introduce you. This girl's name is Feng Baobao. You can call her Baobao from now on. You have seen her combat power before, so I will pay more attention to her in the future. But she also has a great advantage, which even I am envious of. That means she can stay young forever. Su Mu's words made everyone's eyes widen, expressing their surprise. Isn't eternal youth the same as immortality? This girl can live forever. Is this even more miraculous than Su Mu's ability? Su Mu, is this little guy really so amazing? Whitebeard asked curiously. Little guy, haha, Newgate. Compared to her real age, you are probably at least 5 generations younger. Su Mu laughed. What, she's really an old monster. Whitebeard clicked his tongue. 5 generations higher than him, at least 200 years old, right? She is very special. Not only does her body always maintain the status quo, but her mind and memory are regularly reset to keep her consciousness always at the same stage of her body. Su Mu further explained. The power of time, this must be the power of time. Orochimaru exclaimed. At some point, he ran out of the training room, his eyes glowing, and he looked back and forth at Sister Bauer. This is for your research, don't make her think. Su Mu gave Orochimaru a piece of the baby's hair in his hand, not wanting to see this guy's perverted eyes on Sister Bauer. Orochimaru took the hair and left quickly, and Su Mu was relieved. He recruited Ian and asked her to take Sister Bauer to tidy up her room and make arrangements. For Sister Bauer, Su Mu didn't expect her to be able to participate in the battle. The combat power of this world far exceeds her upper limit of strength. It's good that she can liven up the atmosphere on the ship. After the 3 summoned characters are completed, the system's summoning value has been exhausted. Next, it's time to get things done. According to the established plan, it is to go to Wano-kuni. This is also Su Mu's last stop before heading to the Valley of the Gods. Calculating the time, there is only less than half a month before the 1-month deadline, and it is almost enough for him to gather strong people. Recover what can be recovered, and summon what can be summoned. This is the capital he is currently fighting against the world government. It's not that the world government doesn't want to eradicate Su Mu in advance, but now Su Mu is in the dark, because the pirate ship Resurrection has the ability to shuttle and its whereabouts are uncertain, making it difficult for them to set up an ambush and besiege Su Mu. Everyone, we're going to Wano-kuni. Su Mu said loudly, directly activated the shuttle function of the Resurrection number, and made the Resurrection number invisible. Resurrection slipped into space Uzumaki, and appeared in Wano-kuni the next second. This is Wano-kuni, and the weather is really extraordinary. Zephyr sighed. As a former Marine Admiral, he has not been to this legendary place. Hey, why are the people in front of you so familiar? Aokiji looked at the group of people on the ground in front of him and asked in confusion. It's Teach, Whitebeard said in a low voice, narrowing his eyes. I didn't expect the Blackbeard pirates to come to Wano-kuni. It looks like they are going to join Kaido. Aokiji asked puzzled. Interesting, did Kaido know that we are coming to Wano-kuni? Is this contacting allies in advance? Rayleigh analyzed. At this time, Morgan's phone bug also came and directly reported the news to Su Mu, which shocked everyone. This guy Akainu is really shameless for colluding with 2 4 Emperors groups. Zephyr laughed. It's just in time, so I'll find them one by one. Su Mu smiled. Today's the pattern has long changed. Are the 4 Emperors powerful? For other pirates, of course it is ridiculously powerful. But for the Avengers, it's the complete opposite. Not to mention that on Su Mu's ship now, there are only 3 4 Emperors regiments alone, and there are even stronger teams than the 4 Emperors regiment, such as the forces gathered by the characters of Rock's pirate and Luogia pirate ship. Of course, the strength formed by the summoned people is even stronger. And the giant Su Mu. Now, even if all the other forces in the sea except world government are added together, they are not the opponents of the Avengers at all. It's just that Marine doesn't understand. Neither Kaido nor Blackbeard understood. Because they're still stuck in the memory of the period when Impel Down saved the rocks. Now, the 3 of them have gathered and are confident of defeating the Avengers. There's nothing to say, come and kill as many as you want. Su Mu said coldly. Start with Blackbeard first, and kill them on the spot. Su Mu waved his hand, and the resurrection flew quickly, catching up with Blackbeard and the others. Fall. Su Mu sipped lightly, the resurrection released its stealth status, and fell freely from a high altitude, hitting Blackbeard on the ground. Run away. Blackbeard's keen sense reminded him immediately. However, it was too late, and only a few people escaped from the huge body of the resurrection. Boom. With a loud noise, several crew members of the Blackbeard pirate ship on the ground were directly crushed into a pulp. 6 people including Blackbeard and Shiryu escaped. Newgate, do you want to kill Blackbeard yourself? Su Mu asked. Aizen and Madara were expressionless and jumped off the boat. Blackbeard looked at them one by one, and his whole face collapsed. Aizen, Madara, go and deal with them. Su Mu gave an order to the 2 people who had just been summoned behind him. Whitebeard held Kong Yunchi in his hand and said sharply. Kaido is already on the way here, and the marine led by Kainu is already at the seaside of Wanji, and has landed on the island at this moment, and is encircling here. Whitebeard, you are so proud of yourself too early. Blackbeard laughed. On the deck of the resurrection pirate ship, a group of strong men stood. Whitebeard, how did you come so fast? Blackbeard was shocked. Teach, stop talking nonsense. You have nowhere to escape today, and I will kill you with my own hands. Whitebeard jumped off the boat and walked directly to Blackbeard. Blackbeard held a phone bug in his hand, and the phone bug was still on the phone. Yes, but, Whitebeard hesitated. According to the information he got, Su Mu and the others should still be in Cake Island. HMPH, it's too early for you to be complacent. Teach, open your dog's eyes and see. Whitebeard pointed to the resurrection. Boom. It's okay, Blackbeard is in your hands. Su Mu asked Whitebeard to take revenge. He knew Su Mu's intention of making such an arrangement, and he didn't want Su Mu to change it for him. Thief ha ha ha. Whitebeard, do you think you will get what you want? Chapter 142 Cutting Blackbeard again, Aizen and Madara infighting. Advertise here. When Blackbeard saw the people on the resurrection pirate ship, he collapsed directly. His confident expression froze in an instant. At this moment, he really wanted to greet Akainu's family all over. It was Akainu who brought him here. That bastard swears by analyzing the powerhouses on the Su Mu boat, and then instigates Kaido to join in, compares the strength of the 2 sides, and then draws a conclusion. That is their tripartite alliance, able to defeat the Avengers. It's just that Akainu didn't expect that the number of people at the corner of Su Mu's mouth was too fast and too many. This is completely beyond the scope of their analysis. The strength of the 2 sides has been completely exchanged. However, Blackbeard still has a little confidence. Even if they may lose, the gap is not too big, and they can plot to retreat. Kaido, are you there yet? Blackbeard asked Kaido across from the phone bug. Blackbeard, hold on first, I'll be there soon. Besides, Marine is already on the way, and should arrive around the same time as me. Kaido was answering from the phone bug, his voice a little excited. Destroy the Avengers, and the new overlord of this sea will fall. At that time, this sea will also be under the control of the 4 emperors. And he, as the strongest creature, already has the highest status. He has occupied the important country of Wano, and the next step will be to conquer the sea. At that time, he will be the only one in this sea, and even Marine will have to retreat 3 points. Blackbeard, are you all right? Kaido asked again. At this time, he was a little cautious, just in case. No problem. Although the Avengers are stronger than me, they are not much stronger. When you come, we can defeat them. Blackbeard said relaxedly. After that, he hung up the phone. Because, Whitebeard has come to him. That terrifying aura made him tremble with fear. At this time, Whitebeard is at his peak state, much stronger than in the Summit War, and Blackbeard feels the most about this. So, he pretended to be relaxed, but actually wanted Kaido to come over quickly and pull Kaido into the water. Teach, in Wano, you have no way out. Holding Kong Yunchi in his hand, Whitebeard strode forward, held it up high, concentrated his shocking power on the sword, and slashed towards Blackbeard. Blackbeard clenched his fist, and the dark ability formed a black windmill on the fist, blocking Whitebeard's shocking slash. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. Whitebeard, I've learned my lesson and won't be smug this time. Blackbeard blocked Whitebeard's attack, secretly pleased. His other fist clenched, bursting with shock power, and charged directly at Whitebeard. So what if you don't feel conceited? Teach, all caution is useless in the face of absolute strength. Baihu rotated his arm, held it horizontally from Yunchi, and swept out a semicircle. The Conqueror's Haki wrapped around the knife and slashed at Blackbeard's arm. Boom. Conqueror's Haki's cloud cut directly collided with Blackbeard's shock ability, which instantly shattered the sky. Slicing from the cloud Blackbeard's shocking powers, the terrifying overlord Haki slices his fist straight through. Whitebeard. Blackbeard exclaimed. He hastily used his other hand to attack with dark power. It's useless, Teach, it's too dependent on ability, it's unreliable after all. The aura of Whitebeard's body exploded again, and the power of the peak poured down without reservation. This terrifying aura, carrying the impact of his Conqueror's Haki, entangled Zhao Kong Yunchi again. At this moment, Whitebeard seemed to have the pride he had when fighting Luo Jia. Terrifyingly cut the space from the cloud, and appeared directly in front of Blackbeard's chest. Stab it. From Blackbeard's left shoulder to his waist, a horrible wound appeared, almost cutting him in half. Whitebeard had no expression on his face, and with a forceful pull, Yunch passed through Blackbeard's body, literally cutting him in half. Blackbeard fell to the ground in horror, thick black smoke rising from both halves of his body. Teach, you will not be so lucky this time. No matter how many lives you have, you will be killed today. Whitebeard said coldly, staring at the two halves of Blackbeard on the ground, waiting for him to recover again. Blackbeard has the blood of the three-headed dog with 3 lives. He had killed Blackbeard once when he was resurrected last time, and he will kill it again this time. Blackbeard, with 1 last life left. Today, I am afraid I have to explain here. On the other side, Aizen and Madara faced Shiryu and other 4 people. Hey, I want these 4 guys alone. Madara crossed her arms and said forcefully to Aizen beside her. Captain Su Mu asked the 2 of us to fight. If I don't say it, it's not good. Aizen said lightly. The tone seemed modest and calm on the surface, but it was flatly rejected. Actually, these guys are not enough for me to play, but the warm-up is also very good. If you split half of it, I don't even need to warm up, which will make me very unhappy. Madara squinted at Aizen, her strong eyes still staring at him. It's not enough for me to take a shot. It doesn't seem interesting to fight them, why don't we play? Aizen turned to look at Madara, with a smile of strong desire to fight. Haha. Then let's try it. Madara laughed, and leapt to distance herself from Aizen. The two disagreed and decided to fight, ignoring Shiryu and others. Lord Madara directly opened the Mangekyo Sharingan, and Susanoo appeared instantly, wrapping him in it. Boom. The gigantic Shinigami-like Susanoo shook his fist and violently smashed at Aizen. Bakudo's 89 splitting void. Aizen waved his hand, and in front of him, a transparent cover appeared. Boom. Susanoo's fist hit, making an ear-splitting sound. However, even though Susanoo was terrified, he didn't break the splitting void with a single punch. Your ability is very special. Madara commented on Aizen lightly. Each other. Aizen responded. The two strike again, causing the entire battlefield to tremble. Uchiha Madara got the Hashirama cell and didn't worry about life force and chakra issue. And Aizen also initially merged with Hogyoku, like an immortal body. Moreover, his Kido knowledge is very deep. Zanhundao's ability is not released here, because Aizen feels that Madara's eyes seem to be able to see illusions. On this ship, he will not shoot Su Mu. Even if he shoots, it may not necessarily make Su Mu hit. Because Su Mu is also a Grandmaster illusion, and even the nerves of the body, there is a high probability that he can block it. But there is no doubt that Madara's ability in this area is more terrifying than Su Mu. When the two collided head-on, the entire battlefield was extremely lively. Neither Whitebeard nor Blackbeard seemed to be fighting as well as the two of them fought. Shiryu and the others looked bewildered, and looked at the infighting between the two guys with great solemnity. They'd love to stand up and scold the two bastards for not taking them seriously. However, seeing the fighting power of the two of them, they dared not speak again. They also want to go, but where can they go? Wano Kuni is like a cage, it is difficult to get in and out. Wherever they flee, they will be pursued by the enemy. So at this time, they completely became spectators. This is really embarrassing. On the resurrection, Rox and others looked at Aizen and Madara speechlessly. These two arrogant guys are actually fighting each other. Captain Su Mu, don't you care? Zephyr said to Su Mu. It's good that they don't give in to each other and compete against each other. Rox has the opposite view. He also watched the two fight seriously and learned from it. Fire style Huo extinguish. Madara cast Uchiha's terrifying ninjutsu, and a huge fireball rushed out. The cage formed by the power of space that has reached its peak wraps itself up. At this time, the two teams of Marine and Kaido led by Akainu have appeared in Su Mu's sight with great momentum. 10 minutes passed, and the two were still fighting excitedly, showing no intention of stopping. In a few minutes, they'll be here. The two attacked Su Mu in a terrifying attack from the front and back. The flame and terror dissipated, and Su Mu stood on the ground quietly, unharmed. With a leap, Su Mu jumped off the resurrection pirate ship and landed directly between the two of them. Look, if they can't tell the winner and keep fighting endlessly, then they have to stop. The attack of the two hit the space cage, and the terrifying aftermath dyed the entire sky red. The system's reward sounded in Su Mu's mind, making him froze in place. Space cage. Su Mu sipped softly. Boom. Su Mu crossed her arms and was also admiring the battle between the two. It's almost there. These two guys can't play anymore, and we're still waiting for them to do something. At this time, both of them were shooting. Hadoji Juju 5 swirling dragons of destruction. Aizen shouted loudly, and the terrifying energy directly smashed forward. Ding! Sign in with Aizen and Uchiha Madara. Strength plus 20, speed plus 20, body strength plus 20, combat awareness plus 20. Additional reward is half a bottle of Resurrection Devil Fruit Ability Enhancer. Chapter 143 The Resurrection Ability is half awakened. Kaido and Akainu are here. Advertise here. Su Mu didn't expect that he stopped the battle between Aizen and Madara and hit them with a blow, which triggered the sign in and got half a bottle of revived Devil Fruit Ability Enhancer. It seems that he hasn't made a shot for a long time, and he hasn't set off to sign in for a long time. Because for the current him, his personal strength has reached its peak, and it is difficult to improve. Moreover, with his current strength, even Marine Admiral can easily defeat him. So recently he neglected to sign. Today, if he had to stop these two guys from fighting each other, he wouldn't do it either. Su Mu looked into his mind, about the introduction of the half bottle of the revived devil fruit ability enhancer, almost jumped up in surprise. This is what he has always wanted. Now, the system has cashed out half of it for him. Without any hesitation, Su Mu directly took out half a bottle of booster from the system backpack and drank it. In an instant, he felt a completely different change in his resurrection ability. He felt that he was truly on the road to mastering life and death. This half bottle of resurrection ability enhancer can half awaken his resurrection ability. After seeing the introduction of the system, he discovered that the semi-awakened resurrection ability can revive a person without a body who died within 100 years. This kind of semi-awakening, as long as the breath of the deceased is locked, or the person or event that had a great influence on the deceased, can effectively lock the causal connection with the deceased, so as to summon the soul consciousness to return to the original body and reshape the real body. This is an extremely rare and mysterious ability. Now Su Mu finally understands why the first devil fruit given to him by the system is the revived devil fruit. This fruit is really too buggy. This is the semi-awakened state. Su Mu already believes that when he fully awakens, he will be able to resurrect his father and the D family who have been dead for thousands of years. At that time, it will be regarded as his true consummation. A powerful enemy is coming. If you don't like it, just kill the ones in front of you, and then kill them to your heart's content. Su Mu said to the two arrogant thorns, Aizen and Madara. Not far away, the beast's pirates led by Kaido and the marine led by Akainu have arrived. Su Mu pointed to Marine, and continued, there are a few extremely powerful beings there, don't take it lightly. Oh, to be called a strong man by Captain Su Mu must be worthy of my blood. The corners of Madara's mouth rose, and her heart began to get excited. That's the way to be interesting. Aizen stepped directly towards Marine. Stop here, that side is mine, and this side is yours. Madara pointed in Kaido's direction and said to Aizen dissatisfied. Su Mu shook her head helplessly, and mourned for Kaido in her heart. The strongest creature in the world was ignored by these two guys. Madara, there's a guy over there who claims to be the strongest creature in the world. It's not easy, Su Mu reminded. Madara looked at Su Mu half believingly, seeming a little suspicious. You can tell by his size. This guy can't be killed. His body is terribly hard. He can also transform into a dragon. His strength is unparalleled, but he fights. Don't give up, Su Mu joked to Madara. Hee, I hope he won't let me down. Madara looked at Kaido who was attacking conceitedly. Hey, you two always clean up these four. Su Mu shouted to Madara and Aizen. Not worth the shot. Aizen continued walking towards Marine without looking back. No fun. Madara rushed to Kaido enthusiastically, leaving Shiryu and others in place. Su Mu raised his forehead, these two guys are really hard to control. He didn't give orders in the form of orders, so these two guys have the freedom to choose independently, and Su Mu won't interfere too much in this regard. Shiryu and the others couldn't escape anyway. Baby, let's fight. Su Mu waved to Sister Bauer on the pirate ship Resurrection. Sister Bauer jumped off the Resurrection ship, came to Su Mu and asked, which one do you want to bury? She used authentic dialect, which made Su Mu sound extremely friendly. Holding a shovel in her hand, she stared at Shiryu and the others cutely. You can bury whatever you want, Su Mu said with a smile. These guys seem to be very strong. Sister Bauer has a keen sense, knowing that she is facing 4 people, and each one is not easy. It's okay, I'll call some bodyguards for you. Su Mu waved to the Resurrection, and Enel, Crocodile, Ka-er, and Beckman obediently came over. Cooperate with the baby and kill these 4 guys, Su Mu told them. Several people nodded, embraced Sister Bauer in the middle, and walked towards Shiryu and the other 4. This ant is mine, Enel pointed to Sonic Lafitte. The idiot is mine, Crocodile pointed at the evil king. Shiryu of the Rain, I heard that your sword is very strong, I don't know how long you can last under my gun. Beckman twirled the pistol in his hand and said contemptuously to Shiryu, Blackbeard's lieutenant. Poison Q was left alone, and Katakuri walked over listlessly. You all take it easy, just beat them to death, don't beat them to death. Save a little strength for the baby to play with. Su Mu told them that he didn't pay attention to the situation here. There's basically no suspense here. Beckman claims to be as famous as the Redhead, and they are known as the Double Emperor Pirates. Naturally, Beckman's strength is terrifying, and he is more than enough to deal with Shiryu. As for the other cadres of the Blackbeard Regiment, Katakuri, Enel, and Crocodile, these 3 guys can also easily defeat their opponents. Back on the Resurrection, Su Mu, Rox and others watched as Marine and Kaido mobilized their forces. The bastard Garp is still so strong, great. Rox only had Garp in his eyes. The burning will to fight in his heart was burning, and he was about to fight. Back then, Garp and Luo Jia teamed up to defeat him, giving the world government a chance to arrest him, but IM snatched him away. Now, just facing Garp alone, he feels very happy and has great confidence. On the pirate ship Resurrection, people who did not participate in the battle lined up. Su Mu is in the middle. Beside him, Rocks, Aokiji, Zephyr, Golden Lion, Redhead, Big Mom, Rayleigh, Tornado, Orochimaru, Buggy, Monet, Ian and others are lined up with a powerful momentum. Kaido has come to the battlefield, and in front of him, Madara is already standing with his hands behind his back, seeing him as his prey. On the bow of the resurrection, he even saw several existences that terrified him. In addition to Rocks, there are two other four Emperors Redheads and Big Mom, and Golden Lion, Aokiji, Zephyr, Rayleigh are all Admiral levels, and there are several guys he thinks are extremely dangerous. Even more frightening, he finally met Su Mu. This is the true founder of the Avengers, the guy who gathered so many powerful people. When he saw Su Mu today, he felt the powerful power of Su Mu. Blackbeard, you at %n. Kaido scolded Blackbeard directly. Is this what he said, that the opponent's strength is only slightly stronger than him? Crushing him to death is like trampling an ant to death. At this time, he also really saw Blackbeard, the newly promoted four emperors, crawling at Whitebeard's feet. At this time, Kaido finally understood that Blackbeard wanted to pull him together. Did he have a companion on the road to Wonquan? Chapter 144 Aizen blocks Marine alone. Advertise here. Kaido's thick eyebrows and big eyes stared into lanterns, as if flames were coming out. It's totally offended by that bastard Blackbeard. If Blackbeard had explained the situation here, Kaido would never have come here so simply. Although he always wanted to court death, it was just a pretend. The fact that Marine couldn't kill him doesn't mean that the horrible existences like Whitebeard, Rocks and Su Mu couldn't kill him. Although he looks burly, his mind is extremely delicate, and he is not the one who suffers. Back then, when dealing with Odin, he used scheming, otherwise Odin at that time might really have killed him. After his strength is strong and his influence is developed, he surpasses Odin, and he will naturally kill the opponent. Now, in the face of the Avengers, how can he have the confidence to go head to head? So, he hastily stopped rushing towards the resurrection, stopping a few kilometers away from the resurrection. Boss, don't stop, lean in. Jack urged from the side. Boom. Kaido blasted Jack away with a stick, but he didn't want this tough guy to babble. Do you want to retreat? Yan Wanjin saw the strength of the other party and Kaido's hesitation. Where can we retreat? We have already been blocked by others, and there is no way to retreat. Plague Quinn said in a low voice. Boss, F**k them. Jack got up from a distance and said angrily. After speaking, without waiting for Kaido to move, he led his subordinates to rush towards the resurrection. This idiot. Kaido held his forehead and was about to be cheated to death. If he retreats now, regardless of these people, he thinks he has a good chance. After all, he can transform into a green dragon form and fly away directly. Now, Jack yelled and charged towards the enemy, causing the rest of the pirate group to yell and follow Jack to charge from behind. He was forced to continue rushing towards the resurrection. On the other hand, Marine's team is even bigger, and high-level figures can be said to come out in full force. Akainu managed to unite the two four emperors groups, risking being scolded by everyone, but also to bring in all the high-level executives. The purpose is self-evident. He was secretly instructed by the five elders to kill Su Mu at all costs. At all costs, let him think of this method. Beside him, Garp and Sengoku are both gods of war. There are also Marine Admiral Kizaru and Fujitora, Marine Alternate Admiral Momonosuke, and 10 Marine Vice Admirals. This lineup is already extremely strong, and it will be no problem to kill any four emperors group. From a distance, they saw the people on the battlefield. Whitebeard Haki stood tall, Blackbeard crawled under their feet. On the resurrection, Su Mu led all the strong men to wait for their arrival, full of confidence. There seems to be a lot of people around Su Mu. Sengoku said with a frown. Su Mu has a very high vision, and those who can be recruited by him must have strong combat power. He looked solemn. It's not a good match. The opponent's strong players are a bit beyond our expectations, and there are many more than us. Kizaru looked uninterested. On the other side's ship, there were almost 10 people of the rank of General Emperor, and there were a few guys that he didn't even know. Satsuki, don't say I won't help you. Rocks will be handed over to me in a while, and I can only block him. Garp said to Akainu, picking his nostrils. Seeing Rocks, he still has the desire to fight. If he hadn't seen it, he might just quit. Originally, he no longer wanted to obey the command of Akainu and Marine. At this time, Aizen had already stepped towards Marine, blocking in front of them. I don't know this guy. He should be a crew member of Su Mu. He is expected to have mediocre combat power. Who is going to kill him? Akainu yelled at the people behind him. At this time, the Marine Vice Admiral Giant Spider came out more and more, confidently responding to Akainu's call. He cast Marine 6 styles shave, extremely fast, and rushed directly to Aizen, and several arms slashed across with knives. It's really brave. Does this guy want to win the first prize? Kizaru said in surprise. First victory. Hey, first defeat. Garp snorted coldly. How could that guy who didn't know dare to block them alone? Could it be that Akainu didn't think of this layer? He made such a call, but it was just for people to test the opponent's strength first. Sure enough, before everyone finished speaking, the battle in the distance came to an abrupt end. The Marine Vice Admiral Large Spider was cut in half. It's cold. Kizaru shut up quickly. Even he was surprised. Marine Vice Admiral was defeated too quickly, and died so quickly, which frightened him. If you switch to Marine Admiral, you can't do it to this extent. His special ability makes the big spider seem to be sluggish, attacking randomly, and can't find the opponent's position at all. Sengoku stared at the knife in Aizen's hand and said. It seems to be a kind of illusion. Everyone should be careful for a while, don't look at the knife in his hand. He added from the side. Who was going to kill him? Akainu said to the crowd again. However, a few minutes passed and no one went out. Marine Vice Admiral believes that he is definitely not an opponent of Aizen, and if he goes out, he will die. Admiral and the others don't want to fight with someone whose ability is unclear. Because if you are not careful, you will suffer. Kizaru, your speed is fast, you can try it. Sengoku suggested. Senior Sengoku, your ability is invincible, his sword can't stop you, it's best for you to go. Kizaru said with a smile. Let me go. Smoker rushed out. He elementalized himself, closed his eyes, and with observation haki, raised his seastone weapon aloft at Aizen. Hado no 89 Black Coffin. Aizen cast Hado directly, and a black square directly enveloped Smoker. In Black Coffin, the mighty Reiatsu slashes at Smoker blade after blade. After a while, Black Coffin disappeared, and Smoker fell to the ground from midair, covered in blood. However, because of his elementalization, he blocked a lot of damage, so he still had a breath and was picked up by Marine. Aizen didn't chase and kill, he just wanted to experience the battle, and he didn't pay attention to such a small person as Smoker. Hey, Sumu said that you have very powerful experts, aren't they all of them? Aizen said to Marine with a contemptuous tone. Presumptuous. Akainu shouted loudly and rushed off the boat. Great eruption. A huge magma fist hit Aizen directly. Splitting void. Aizen waved his hand, and directly blocked Akainu's attack with Kido. Dark Hound. Akainu took out his trump card. That's what makes it interesting. Aizen felt the terrifying power of the black dog, and immediately became interested. He leapt, without any defenses, and charged directly at Akainu. Even though the Dark Hound blasted through his body, he quickly came to Akainu's side, and the knife in his hand had a strange light, and directly cut off Akainu's head. The headless Akainu fell to the ground, and the magma wriggled around his neck, trying to grow a new head. He was elementalized at the last moment to avoid disaster. In the battle just now, he was careless. Unexpectedly, Aizen didn't defend his offense at all, which made him suffer a lot. Moreover, Aizen's pierced body healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. He didn't even shed a drop of blood. Oh, this ability is very interesting. Aizen felt the ability of the Logia fruit. I also experienced this ability when I used Black Coffin to attack Smoker just now, and I was very interested. Let me see if your head can't be chopped off. Aizen stepped towards Akainu, about to slash him again. Suddenly, a huge shock wave struck, directly sending Aizen flying. Sengoku's huge golden body rushed, and the shock wave from his huge palm stopped Aizen from beheading Akainu again. Transform. Aizen looked at Sengoku, the corners of his mouth raised. If it were in my world, I really want to create a few Arankars to play with you. Aizen stared at Sengoku with interest, as if staring at the prey that excited him. Chapter 145 Fujitora saves Sengoku and fights Aizen. Advertise here. Aizen walked towards Sengoku and slowly drew the knife from his hand. Sengoku immediately closed his eyes tightly, not daring to look directly. They have discussed just now that Aizen's knife must not be cut, otherwise he will be hit by an illusion. So he closed his eyes and used his powerful perception to lock on his opponent's every move. At their level, the role of eyes is not so important. His palm slapped again, and the shock wave compressed the air, hitting Aizen. Aizen has many ways to block this blow, and even he can give up any block, and this blow can hurt him. Besides, he still has Hogyoku to restore his body. But he didn't want to be photographed flying, it would be too ugly, especially Sumu watching here. With a pull of his hands, the terrifying power directly caused a black hole to appear in the void, as if another barrier had been opened. Sengoku's shock wave disappeared directly into the black hole without causing any waves. Can you not be affected by closing your eyes? How naive. My soul-slaying knife can affect people's 5 senses. Aizen sneered and walked towards Sengoku. At this time, Sengoku has been covered by the ability of Aizen Zanhundao, and Kyoka Suigetsu is pervasive, affecting the 5 senses, making him feel like he is in the vast universe. He froze in place, like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. Aizen raised the knife, the light of the knife flickered, and cut through Sengoku's golden Buddha statue. Just as he was about to chop Sengoku in half, he suddenly felt a huge pressure hitting him from the void. Boom. The ground beneath his feet collapsed, and a black hole appeared, engulfing himself. Fujitora closes the knife, walks to Sengoku, and uses lateral gravity to send Sengoku back to the Marine Army for treatment. I seem to know his ability. Among the Marines, I am the only one who can hold him back. Fujitora said in a deep voice, staring at the black hole on the ground seriously, ready to fight at any time. He has not used his eyes all year round, which has cultivated his special fighting consciousness. He doesn't even need the transmission of voice. While Aizen's ability affects the five senses, relatively speaking, he has the least impact and is the most adaptable. Moreover, the gravity ability is very special, and it will also make the opponent afraid. On the other hand, Jack rushed to the resurrection, and met Uchiha Madara on the way. You want to stop my uncle? Are you looking for death? Jack used the ability of the mammoth and rushed directly to it brutally. Huh, you're even more arrogant than me. No, you're not arrogant, you're just trying to die. Madara frowned, with veins popping out on his forehead. Someone actually treated him so presumptuously, which made his blood start to run wild. Without any hesitation, he directly casts Eternal Mangekyo, and the giant Susanoo appears, enveloping him. Boom. He waved his fist and blasted the giant Jack into the air with one punch, deforming half of his face. After flying hundreds of meters, he lay motionless on the ground. On the resurrection, Su Mu said to the people beside him, today's enemies are not bad, they are worthy of our fight. Su Mu, do you need to keep a few people alive? Rayleigh asked. He knew that Su Mu intends to recruit strong men, and the enemy here has several strong men, which is a huge force. There are indeed a few that can catch my eye. They are all at the 4 emperors or admiral level, and it is not so easy for you to kill them. Su Mu said lightly. Although they have the upper hand and can even fight 2-on-1, it usually takes several days to decide the winner in a battle between strong players of the same level. Kaido, need to keep it? Rox asked. This is his former crew, and it is of course the best to be able to gather all of them. But here Su Mu has the final say, so he still has to ask Su Mu's opinion. Let's see if he knows the current affairs. I don't appreciate him very much anyway, but he can sincerely surrender, stay as a thug, and be a punching bag when he is upset. It is also a good choice to train with Ace and other young people as a sandbag. The corners of Su Mu's lips turned up, as if he had found a reason for Kaido to survive. Rox was dumbfounded. The dignified 4 emperors are not valued by Su Mu at all, but treat him as a tool man. This, really is hockey. But it's better than dying, right? Therefore, Rox still voted to be grateful to Su Mu. Where's Blackbeard? The redhead asked. He and Blackbeard are fateful enemies, and the scars on his face are all left by Blackbeard. Personally speaking, it must be different. Blackbeard boarded the ship. Does Blackbeard still need to ask? Marshall, a betrayed family, has no need to live any longer. Su Mu's face turned cold, and she had already made up her mind to kill all the remaining blood of the Marshall family. It seems that I don't need to take action. Whitebeard seems to have made up his mind to kill Blackbeard completely. The red-haired sighed looking at the battlefield. Whitebeard had already killed Blackbeard just now, and now it is estimated that one more kill will completely kill Blackbeard. What about Marine? Aokiji asked. There are also many strong players in Marine, this is a completely different position. He used to be Marine Admiral, and he still has deep feelings for these companions. I admire many people in Marine, but it's not something I can achieve if I want them on board. They have their own justice, and it is difficult to conquer them by force. Su Mu sighed. At least, keep them from being our enemies, Aokiji suggested. He continued. It seems that afterwards, I need to go to Marine to let them know the true face of world government. Even if they don't join us, they should cooperate with us. Zephyr came out with a dissatisfied expression. Kuzan, I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to achieve it. Some Marine personnel are too loyal to the world government and will not be shaken. It doesn't matter. Today's Marine is pushed by Akainu. Needless to say, Garp, Sengoku and Crane have their own judgments, and the justice of Fujitora and Kizaru is not to serve celestial dragons at all. As for the others, I don't think too much about them. Su Mu said coldly. So, kill Akainu, everything will be easy. Following Su Mu's order, everyone was dispatched one after another, and all the powerful members of the Avengers were dispatched. On the resurrection, there were only a few girls with weakened combat power left. They are not combatants, as Su Mu has emphasized before, even though some of them are good fighters. Captain Su Mu, leave the killing to those monsters. You can relax. Go to the beach and I will give you a massage and feed you. Reiju twisted his body and came to Su Mu. And us. Princess Vivi and Monet are not to be outdone. The other girls are also eager to try, not giving in to each other. After finally catching Su Mu as an order, how could she let her go? Everyone, I still have something to do, wait for me to come back. Soon. Facing the man-eating gaze, Su Mu waved her hands hastily. How fast? Monet asked. At most half an hour. Su Mu replied. It's too slow, why don't you enjoy it first, without delaying things? Reiju laughed. Am I so fast? Su Mu was furious, and as soon as he stepped on his footsteps, he flew up from the resurrection and flew towards a certain city in Wano Kuni. Why don't you come back and prove yourself? Reiju's voice came from the resurrection, causing Su Mu's body to shake in midair, and almost fell down. Chapter 146 Shimotsuki Ryoma Resurrection. Advertise here. The girl on the resurrection is Su Mu's favorite type. Or radish, or imperial, or cute, or charming, or healing, there are almost any types. But Su Mu is just pure appreciation, he told himself so in his heart. In the future, he will invite more girls on board. He had planned and had a clear goal. For example, Princess Shirahoshi of the Fish-Men Island with status, Wanokuni Shaozi and Yamato, Hina and Tashigi of Marine, there are pirates Nami and Robin, Perona and so on. There are even dead Kuina et al. Anyway, he wanted to pull these pretty girls on board. After all, facing the beautiful scenery every day can always make people happy. Of course, the Empress is her own woman and must be placed in the most important position. As for the other women, of course they appreciate it. So when the girls suddenly attacked Sumyu and wanted to eat him, he ran away quickly. Otherwise, even if he was physically strong, he would be no match for four hands. After all, this is not a battle, but the original output. Sumyu flew into the sky, heading towards a city, ignoring the battlefield behind her. Because the outcome of the battlefield is not what he worries about. The ultimate victory must be the Avengers. The city Sumyu is going to used to be the city of the Wanokuni Shimotsuki family. There used to be a very dazzling samurai in that city. In order to protect the city, he killed the dragon alone. Although he has been dead for hundreds of years, the legend still lives on. And Sumyu also admired this guy a lot. In the case of resurrecting devil fruits semi-awakening, he can just verify the value of this semi-awakening. According to the semi-awakened introduction of the resurrection ability only needs to lock the breath of the other party, and it can resurrect people who have died for hundreds of years. And this city has left too much breath of Shimotsuki Ryoma, it is the city he has guarded, and countless people have been enshrining him and believing in him until now. This is the most prominent place where he exists, and it is also the place where he retains the strongest breath. It is Su-Emu's first choice for resurrecting Ryoma. Blue, 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 Ace's phone bug called Su-Mu. Captain Su-Mu, according to your instructions, we have reached the vicinity of Wanokuni, and we will meet you in a short time. By the way, Fujitora has already separated from us in Dressrosa, and he said that he will return to naval headquarters to finish. He also said in Marine, there are only a small number of selfish people, most of them are righteous people who care about the world and the people, and can be used by me. Ace reported to Su-Mu in one breath. Well, I see, Fujitora is already in Wanokuni with Marine, I saw him just now. Su-Mu said lightly. Seeing Marine coming, Fujitora nodded secretly to Su-Mu, which was regarded as a greeting. After hanging up the bug, only a few minutes later, Su-Mu came to the sky above the city. Without any hesitation, Su-Mu directly activated the semi-awakened state of resurrection ability. Directly on his hand, a light curtain the size of a fist appeared. In the light curtain, the power of resurrection is surging, and there is a special attraction, as if it can attract all the invisible special breath around. Su-Mu understood that this light curtain was to gather and lock the breath of the dragon and horse. Once the breath is gathered and locked, the power of resurrection will start to activate. Sure enough, the light curtain left Su-Emu's hand and flew to the square of the city, shining dazzling light with a special rhythm. A few minutes later, even Su-Mu felt an illusory figure. It's amazing. The power of resurrection, can it be resurrected with this breath? Su-Mu sighed, and then said to herself. He didn't know what to do and could only wait for the result. Ding, lock on the breath of Shimotsuki Ryoma, and the power of resurrection is activated. At this time, the power of resurrection began to bloom. The light curtain disintegrated into tiny spots of light, filling the space immediately. Those light spots fell towards the aura of the figure, full of the aura of the figure. I saw that illusory figure's aura became more and more solid, from illusion to reality, as if it really looked like a figure, and the outline became clearer and clearer. A few minutes later, that phantom silhouette turned into a real shadow. This shadow has short hair, is wearing a kimono, and has clogs on his feet. He is not tall, but he has a very sharp feeling. Su-Mu stretched out his hand and put it on the shadow. The resurrection power in his body flowed down his arm and flowed into the shadow. The two-dimensional shadow began to become full, and soon became a three-dimensional shadow. The power of resurrection is still surging, and Su-Mu is shocked to find that he has established a secret bridge with this shadow, just like Fu or others did before. Up to now, the power of resurrection works in the same way as before it was half awakened. Su-Mu is also very familiar with the subsequent operations. The semi-awakened power of resurrection is really amazing. Su-Mu herself sighed. He awakened Ryoma's dormant consciousness and brought his consciousness back. Immediately afterwards, the resurrection power of Su-Emu's body rushed towards Ryoma's shadow at an extremely fast speed, and was swallowed by him. But the effect is also obvious, Ryoma's shadow began to become flesh and blood. From the bottom up, it is revealed from the feet. In front of Su-Mu, Longma's body grew out little by little until half an hour later, the whole body completely returned to its previous appearance. Su-Mu turned pale and withdrew her hand. Resurrecting Ryoma consumed almost half of his resurrection power. This kind of consumption is extremely terrifying. Sure enough, after half awakening, the consumption of resurrecting the strong is dozens of times that of before. But Su-Mu knew that when the power of resurrection was fully awakened, resurrecting others would no longer consume the power of resurrection. At that time, it was the pinnacle of resurrection ability. Ryoma opened his eyes and looked at the young man in front of him, a little confused. Where is this? Am I dead? Ryoma said to himself. He turned around and looked around, finally saw the familiar city and confirmed his location. You are indeed dead, but I brought you back to life. Shimotsuke Ryoma, your swordsmanship shouldn't just disappear. This era also needs your spirit. Su Mu said in a deep voice. Are there any more pirates who invaded Wano-kuni? Ryoma asked. Half right. Besides pirates, there are also dragons. Su Mu said with a smile. Dragon. Ryoma's eyes widened. This kind of creature is extremely terrifying. He paid a lot to kill the dragon successfully. Otherwise, the entire city will be destroyed by the dragon. So after hearing the dragon, his whole body was like a sharp sword, and the light of the sword soared into the sky. Haha. This is the dragon horse. Do you want to kill the dragon? I'll take you there. Su Mu patted Ryoma on the shoulder, and led him to travel through space directly, to the high altitude of the battlefield several sea miles away. Condescending, they saw Kaido fighting at a glance. He has transformed into a dragon form and is fighting Madara. As for the others, they are besieging Madara. Like Aizen, Madara has to single out the entire beast's pirates. From the looks of it, he still has the upper hand. As for the others, they watched the play helplessly. They were stopped by Madara, who didn't want them to intervene. My sword. Ryoma touched his waist, but found that his familiar partner was not there. He wanted to slay the dragon, how could he not have the saber Chushui? Use my knife for now. Reikiri appeared in Su Mu's hand and handed it to Ryoma. Holding Reikiri in his hand, Ryoma sighed, it's a good knife, but it doesn't suit me. But he didn't refuse. Holding Reikiri, he jumped directly from the sky. Chapter 147 Dragon Horse Slays Dragon. Advertise here. Ryoma jumped down from the sky and landed directly between Kaido and Madara. He didn't just slash at Kaido in midair because that kind of sneak attack was not his style. What he has to do is to be above board. Who are you? Don't bother me. Madara's dissatisfied voice sounded, and Susanoo raised a huge sword weapon and slashed at Ryoma. Bang! Ryoma held Reikiri and slashed directly, blocking Susanoo's slash. Madara, he is one of our own, let him fight first, you go deal with the others. Su Mu's voice sounded high in the sky. Uchiha Madara nodded dissatisfied, and had to agree to Su Mu's request. Hey, among this group of pirates, only that guy has the fun of fighting, the others are far behind. Madara sighed and walked towards the fire embers. Madara, he should keep it too, you deal with the others first. Su Mu reminded again. Yan Calamity Jin, as Kaido's deputy, is comparable in strength to Marco, and is an extremely good combat power. But he is not the type that Su Mu appreciates and won't pull him on board. Let Madara keep him in order to practice for the upcoming ace. After all, if Madara makes a move, Jin has no chance of surviving. Hey, Su Mu, are you still letting me fight to my heart's content? This guy can't be killed either, I'll just watch the show. Uchiha Madara was depressed, he had only played for a short time. Then you go to Aizen, there are many people there, enough for you to play. Su Mu pointed to the location of Marine's high-level executives. That's right, that's exactly what I mean. Madara raised her mouth, ignoring the rest of the beast's pirates, and headed towards Marine. It's really a headache. Su Mu shook his head helplessly. Madara and Aizen are typical thorns. If it weren't for the reason that Su Mu owns the system, it is estimated that they would not be able to take orders from anyone. However, Su Mu is still looking forward to whether the dragon horse has the strength to kill the dragon. Especially, the opponent is 4 Emperors Kaido, the strongest creature in the world, almost unkillable. Su Mu stood on the boat and watched Ryoma walk towards Kaido step by step. He has decided that the dragon Kaido is going to harm Wano-kuni, and he is obliged to slay the dragon for people, just like he did hundreds of years ago. You are Shimotsuke Ryoma. Kaido's eyes widened. This god of Wano-kuni, a swordsman revered by later generations, how could Kaido not recognize him? However, this is a person who has been dead for hundreds of years. Kaido immediately looked at Su Mu and understood immediately. It was Su Mu who resurrected Ryoma. Whitebeard, a strong man who died in the Summit War, was resurrected by him, and it is very likely that Ryoma will be resurrected if he appears again. Recently, he has also heard a lot of legends and crazy deeds of Su Mu, and he all sighs that this overlord of the sea is getting stronger and stronger, and has reached the point where he looks up to. Therefore, not long ago, he listened to Akainu's suggestion, united Blackbeard and Marine, and also defeated Su Mu and his Avengers. That's what he'll be fighting for today. Facing Ryoma at this time, although Kaido showed due respect for the strong, it was not enough to make him afraid. Ever since he crossed Kazuki Oden, established himself in the realm of the 4 emperors, and became the strongest creature in the world, he has no fear. Even the great swordsman Ryoma from hundreds of years ago, he no longer pays attention to him. Hot interest. Kaido of Kaido in dragon form spit out heat directly, and a huge energy ball blasted towards Ryoma. These heats are extremely destructive, almost capable of destroying a city. Ryoma's eyes froze, and the Reikiri in his hand flashed with thunder. With a heavy step, he rose into the air, shot out like a sharp arrow, and rushed straight towards Kaido. Ahead of him, Reikiri cleared the way. The amazing light of the Thunder Sword is indestructible, it can cut through the world, destroy the dead all the way, and directly break Kaido's breath. Call out. Ryoma held Reikiri and appeared directly in front of Kaido. Slay the dragon. Long Ma shouted softly. This is one of his tricks, which he created from the battle with the dragon, so he directly named it Zonlong. Dragon slaying was just a horizontal slash, not very powerful, but it made Kaido's hair stand on end. It's stronger than Kazuki Oden's slash, he said tremblingly. However, it was too late. The saber light was extremely fast, broke through the space, and slashed directly at his body. Call out. Ryoma and Kaido crossed each other, like a shooting star across the sky. Puff. The blood on Kaido's dragon body suddenly appeared, and a saber light that was almost cut in half cut through Kaido. Boom. Kaido rolled his eyes and fell directly to the ground. Is this the former world's strongest swordsman Ryoma? It really is amazing. At some point, Hawkeye has come to the battlefield with Ace and Moria, and seeing Ryoma slaying Kaido, even the world's #1 swordsman is amazed. Compared with Ryoma's saber, which was brilliant and magnificent, even Hawkeye felt that he was inferior in some respects. You guys finally caught up. Sumu looked at the three of them and nodded in satisfaction. Not only did they kill Doflamingo, but they also lobbied Fujitora to join the Avengers, which was a great achievement. Captain Sumu, we are not too late. I'm going to let my father rest now. It's time for me to take revenge. After greeting Sumu, Ace rushed to Whitebeard, who wanted to fight Blackbeard again. This time, it was the third battle between them. In the first battle, he was completely defeated, was seriously injured by Blackbeard, and was dedicated to Marine by Blackbeard. In the second battle, in Whitebeard's hometown, he was revived by Sumu, his burning ability was upgraded, and he was even more powerful. He was on par with Blackbeard in front of him, but overall he was still a bit worse. This time, it was the third battle between them, and Ace was full of confidence. He has been on the resurrection for more than half a year, and he has also trained himself desperately for more than half a year. In the training room of the resurrection, he trained desperately for half a year, which was even more effective than the 5 years of training outside. With his One Piece bloodline aptitude, with his aptitude even more talented than Luffy, how far will he grow? Hulalalala. Ace, you're back. Whitebeard laughed happily when he saw Ace flying towards him. Daddy, here I come. Ace yelled. Moreover, behind them, there is Sumu. Okay, Ace, for Dad, for the dead brothers of the Whitebeard pirates, kill that bastard Teach with your own hands. Whitebeard said harshly. Why is he worried about this strong man with the ability to resurrect, a character that Whitebeard is willing to follow? He also took the opportunity to take the fruit of Whitebeard. The wolf's ambition and shamelessness made Ace mad with hatred. But, Whitebeard was about to say something, but stopped short. Besides, he was still by his side, afraid that Ace would die in front of him again. This is his confidence now. Father, I want revenge. Ace said in a deep voice. He is already confident that he can compete with a strong player at the Admiral level, and he will not lose again in a fight with Blackbeard. Not only that, but he was the one behind the showdown that caused the Whitebeard pirates to fight Marine directly. Blackbeard is a knot in Ace's heart, and he must break it. In the battle with Doflamingo, he singled out alone. Even if Doflamingo awakened the fruit, he was finally killed by him. Today's Ace is no longer what it used to be. He hates Blackbeard even more than he hates Akainu. Ace and Blackbeard are old enemies of fate. After all, Blackbeard belongs in Betrayal of Family. Chapter 148 Ace kills Blackbeard. Advertise here. What Whitebeard expects of Ace is what the entire Whitebeard regiment expects of him. The Summit War started with him and must end with him. This is not only fate, but also the only way for him to become a strong man. Whitebeard had already killed Blackbeard twice, and it was up to Ace to kill the last one. Father, you can witness from the sidelines, I, Potter Cass D. Ace, will definitely take revenge. Ace said sharply, with flames bubbling all over his body, showing a strong desire to fight and confidence in winning. He has completed his transformation, and he has the confidence to face a strong man at the general level. What's more, he knew that Blackbeard's strength hadn't reached the general level. 2 devil fruits create something that has never been discovered before, and its potential is boundless. However, Blackbeard is too conceited, relies too much on abilities, and ignores the fundamentals of Taoism, physical skills, and hockey. This is not a sign of a strong man. Behind Ace, white flame wings appeared, he spread his wings and rushed towards Blackbeard. Thief ha ha ha, Ace, you are still as stupid as ever. Blackbeard laughed, seeing that Ace had volunteered to fight him. It made him very happy. As long as he wasn't facing Whitebeard, he wouldn't feel so hopeless. Whitebeard at his peak is almost the nightmare of all powerhouses, let alone a second-rate powerhouse like him. Fire punch. Ace ignored Blackbeard's contempt for him, and now he can only prove everything with his strength. His current fire fist doesn't have the glamorous picture it used to have. The white flame fist was extremely solid, as big as a real fist, and directly blasted at Blackbeard. Dark water. Blackbeard continued as usual, a black millstone appeared on his fist, blocking Ace's fire fist. Boom. Blackbeard was blown away. Ace. How did your power become so great? Blackbeard coughed blood from the corner of his mouth, injured by the fire fist. His arm hurts, it is very uncomfortable. This is completely different from before, which surprised him. Moreover, he has even worse feelings. The dark ability can suppress all fruit abilities, but just now he felt that Ace's white flame seemed to be breaking away from the original devil fruit category. In other words, his dark fruit ability has very little ability to suppress Ace's burning ability. This is one of the reasons why Ace's fire fist can damage him. Is it just power? Teach, keep your eyes open. Ace jumped up and charged at Blackbeard again. Emperor Yan. Ace bombarded from top to bottom with both hands, and a pillar of flames shot from the sky. The main body of this flame pillar is white, but in the next moment, its surface is covered with black. Blackbeard frowned, feeling uneasy. This time, he didn't have any carelessness, the dark power in his body surged and all gathered on his arm. Thief, haha. Ace, I admit that your strength has improved a lot, but I have the ability to shake and shake. This is the most destructive devil fruit ability. Let you feel it. Blackbeard clenched his fist with his left hand, and his shocking ability bloomed on his fist, directly blasting towards Ace in the sky. His right hand was shrouded in darkness, and the dark matter formed by the dark ability surged, sweeping directly to the sky, trying to swallow Ace. He actually used two devil fruit abilities at the same time, and both were top-level abilities. The shock ability rushes directly to the sky through the air vibration, and bombards the flame beam of light. Boom. Immediately, the space vibrated, and the strong wind raged, and the strong wind made people unable to open their eyes. But everyone could feel that the beam of light falling from the sky was shattering and disintegrating. The beam of light that was originally 1 meter thick became thinner and weaker under the effect of the shocking ability. And the dark power swept Gao Tian, directly engulfing Ace. Ace. Whitebeard frowned. He is well aware of the dominance of the shocking ability, and Ace's flame beam is hard to stop. What's more, Blackbeard's double fruit ability is released, even he finds it very tricky. Ace does not have a famous sword attack like him, which is a disadvantage. Now, it is also difficult for him to see the sky clearly, and he does not know what the impact will be. However, he can't make a rash move, it will hurt Ace's self-esteem. This is a battle for him to settle his knot, and outsiders are not allowed to intervene. Also, Whitebeard is not too worried because now they have Su Mu. Even if Ace has an accident, he can still be resurrected. So Whitebeard finally chose to sit on the sidelines and let Ace handle it. In the sky, the raging wind finally recovered, the shaking ability dissipated, and the darkness of the sky was still shrouded in a small area, and Ace still did not appear from it. However, Blackbeard was breaking out in a cold sweat, sending a chill down his spine. Because, the flame pillar of Ace in the sky has not disappeared. Although it is weakened, it still has thick arms. In other words, it actually blocked the shock ability. Boom. The black and white entangled pillar of flame light rushed towards Blackbeard again and hit him directly on the head without being blocked by the shocking ability. Cluster. Black and white beams of light pierced Blackbeard, nailing him to the ground. But in the sky, the black matter disappeared, Ace's whole body was torn and covered in blood, but he was still in the sky and never fell down. Haha. Daddy, I won. Ace laughed, even though his body was bleeding profusely, he didn't care, and felt extremely happy at this moment. Blackbeard's eyes widened, and he was nailed to the ground by the flame pillar. Of the blood of Marshall with 3 lives, Blackbeard died today. Get completely killed by Ace's final blow. Whoosh. Su Mu disappeared from the resurrection and came directly to Blackbeard. Death can't be wasted, dark fruit is too wasted on you. Su Mu waved his hand, and the gluttonous power swept over Blackbeard, devouring him. Su Mu had already made up the idea of Blackbeard's dark fruit. As for his power, Su Mu scoffed. With the gluttonous power withdrawn, Blackbeard still fell to the ground, completely cold. As for his dark fruit, it was naturally devoured by Su Mu. In Su Mu's hand, 2 blue bottles of devil fruit enhancer appeared directly, which were extra rewards for checking in and starting out. Where he had been useless before, it was just fine now. 2 bottles of devil fruit improve skills, directly raising the dark ability to a high level. Moreover, in Su Mu's mind, dark fruit's most accurate and grandmaster's skills in using moves flashed. Some of these skills were completely unexpected and unused by Blackbeard. That's why Su Mu said, dark fruit is useless in Blackbeard's hands. Su Mu believes that dark fruit's ability is even stronger than the space ability, which makes him look forward to it. Ace had to avenge his great revenge, and his knot was finally resolved, and he had the air of a king in his whole body. Now, his strength has finally reached the threshold of General Emperor level. Even, before he knew it, his strength was comparable to that of Hawkeye. A strong man, even in the most difficult time, can still burst out the power to scare the enemy. Ace, the strongest man under Kaido's command, Yan Huojin, I let them keep it for you, go and prove yourself. Su Mu walked over, patted Ace on the shoulder, and signaled him to kill the flame calamity ember. He didn't use the power of resurrection to heal Ace's wounds all over his body, he just wanted him to keep sharpening. In this regard, Ace's eyes brightened, showing a stronger desire to fight. Of order, Captain Su Mu. Ace grinned loudly, and the flame wings on his back spread out again, pounced on the fire embers. Chapter 149 Kaido surrenders and boards the boat. Advertise here. Ace rushed directly to the embers of the fire, and fought fiercely with it. Flame Calamity is Kaido's #1 combat force, and is at the same level as Marco. The current Ace, after undergoing the upgraded flame ability and the devil training on the resurrection, is completely different. His current strength has long been different from that of the Summit War. Just now, Ace killed Blackbeard head-on. You know, Blackbeard has been among the 4 emperors. Although his strength is still far behind the other 4 emperors, it is definitely not something that ordinary emperors can deal with. Even Marco, in Whitebeard's hometown, was completely suppressed by Blackbeard. But Ember of Fire is a good sharpening stone and a decent challenge for Ace. Su Emu's intention is also to establish the belief of the strong Ace. Killing Blackbeard is the end of the knot. Killing the Flame Calamity is to build the heart of the strong. Ace did not disappoint Su Mu, even with his seriously injured body, he still killed Yan Calamity Jin. Of course, this was 3 hours later. Su Mu looked at Ryoma, he had already cut Kaido, breaking open his so-called invincible body. Only Odin left traces of this body before. Now, Ryoma's blow was stronger than Odin's, directly knocking Kaido out temporarily. But for Kaido's special body, it will not be fatal at all. After a brief feint, Kaido woke up. He looked at Ryoma angrily, the mace in his hand was directly entangled by the Conqueror's haki, and rushed directly to Ryoma with a bang. Ryoma's eyes froze, and he slashed out, trying to block Kaido. However, Thunder 8 trigrams is too fierce, and Kaido casts Conqueror's entanglement, which is very powerful. Ryoma was directly blasted away, coughing up blood, no less than the damage he caused Kaido. This dragon is ridiculously strong. Long Ma's eyes were heavy. He felt the deep pressure, and he was not fully sure of defeating the dragon in front of him. However, he has long regarded death as home, just like before, even if he risked his life, he would not hesitate. He charged at Kaido again, and the battle heated up. The two were exchanging injuries for injuries, and this style of play is extremely detrimental to Longma. Because Kaido is famous for his blood thickness and resilience, and few people can bear it if he consumes it. 3 hours later, Ryoma was completely suppressed. Newgate, go meet your former companion. Su Mu asked Whitebeard to help Ryoma. For the current Whitebeard, even if Kaido is not injured, there is nothing he can do about him. In front of the peak Whitebeard, Kaido is still a younger brother. Whitebeard grinned and came up to Kaido, ready to punch him like he used to punch Kaido on the Rocks pirate ship. Kaido is not angry, he feels that he has grown up and is not afraid of anyone. One is the strongest man in the world, and the other is the strongest creature in the sea, land and air. The battle between the two is really eye-catching. However, the ending is not a tug of war. In just half a day, Kaido became a younger brother. Whitebeard looked condescendingly at Kaido, who fell on the ground and said, "You have never experienced my peak, and it is not shameful to lose. Kaido, Su Mu needs a strong man. If you take the initiative to surrender and add Rock's intercession, maybe you can still succeed. Save your life. You were one of the first few people to follow Su Mu, maybe what you said is more effective." Kaido dissatisfied. The two of them used to be partners anyway, and they still had feelings for each other back then. Kaido, Odin used to be my partner. Although your direct confrontation is a matter of your position, I have nothing to say when he died in your hands, but in the end, I am a person who values emotions. Whitebeard turned around and continued. I didn't kill you directly, but I already missed the old love. Of course, the most important thing is to ask Su Mu's opinion. Whitebeard, is one Su Mu worth following you and Zebek? Just because you resurrected? Kaido yelled angrily. If this is the case, you are not worthy of being the people I once admired. For the weak, this sea doesn't need to give this. Kaido looked at Su Mu and said disdainfully. Although he had seen Su Mu's deeds in the newspaper, for example, he broke the door of justice and so on. But that was only on paper, not really felt. Especially for strong people like them, they have absolute confidence in themselves. He got injured, lost to Whitebeard, and was convinced from the bottom of his heart. But if he is put under the command of Su Mu, who he thinks is not powerful, it will make him feel aggrieved. Weak. You think I'm weak? Su Mu walked in front of Kaido, punched Kaido's heart with powerful force, and directly blasted Kaido's heart with top-level armament haki. You. Kaido's eyes widened in disbelief. Su Mu shot without any warning, killing himself who was unprepared and defenseless. Shameful. He died with anger and contempt in his eyes. Let's convince you. Su Mu waved his hand again, and the power of resurrection emerged, directly resurrecting Kaido. Kaido stared in horror at himself, who was completely intact, and then at Su Mu, only then was shocked by the horror of the power of resurrection. Kaido, let's do it. People like you won't be honest if you don't die a few times. Su Mu hooked his finger at Kaido provocatively. The corner of Kaido's mouth raised, he had nothing to say, he directly picked up the mace, entangled with Conqueror's haki, and rushed directly to Su Mu. The feeling of death is his nightmare. 10 minutes later, Kaido died. Because he knew that no matter how he tried to die, he would not die. Captain Su Mu, I'm going to kill Admiral of Marine, as a token of my sincerity to you. Kaido said arrogantly. Su Mu rushed to Kaido, and this time Kaido plopped and knelt down. Kaido, are you obeying? Whitebeard chuckled. Being killed 3 times in a row has already made him collapse. He used to ask for death everywhere, not real death, just boredom. Su Mu killed him 3 times in a row, using different methods and abilities, which is too appalling. Let's go to the marine side to have a look. Su Mu said. Without saying a word, he made another strong attack, rushed to Kaido, and killed Kaido again 8 minutes later. Su Mu waved again, and the power of resurrection brought Kaido back to life. Thunder 8 trigrams. I sincerely obey. Captain Su Mu is powerful and made me surrender completely. I am afraid that no one in this world can be stronger than Captain Su Mu. Kaido gave the highest admiration in his heart. Then, Su Mu revives Kaido again. Hee hee. Is that all? Su Mu sneered. Then reluctantly accept you on the boat, but Kaido, I don't like you. From now on the boat, don't worry about it. Follow the command and even be the training partner of Ace and others. Su Mu said coldly. Kaido nodded repeatedly to express his unconditional support, and obediently followed Su Mu. Chapter 150. Advertise here. Kaido's sincerity made Whitebeard roll his eyes. Even Su Mu's mouth twitched. How did Kaido's stupid mind design to kill Odin back then? Even though he is the Four Emperors, known as the strongest creature in the sea, land and air, there is still a slight gap compared with Whitebeard. Whitebeard didn't dare to speak so loudly, let alone him. He might be able to defeat Marine Admiral, as for killing Marine Admiral. It seemed like a dream. In the case of one-on-one duel, how long does it take to defeat the opponent? And don't those who fail run away? Which one of Marine's Admiral is easy to beat? Fujitora, a person with gravity ability. The ability is hard to guard against, and it is difficult for Kaido to deal with it. Did Shenlong see the green bull with head but tail? It seems that the strength is even stronger than Fujitora. As for Kizaru, who paddles daily, no one has seen him go all out. If it's about life, Kizaru is in a hurry, how strong is he? There is no answer to this. Maybe, he can really kill Kaido back. Go ahead and kill Akainu. Su Mu urged him. Okay, I'll bring Akainu's dog head to meet you. Kaido vowed, and rushed directly towards Marine. Kaido, it's as if he's been beaten with chicken blood. Whitebeard looked at Kaido's leaving back and sighed. But Akainu is extremely powerful, Kaido may not be able to defeat him. Whitebeard has fought Akainu and knows his strength. The magma ability is known as the most powerful offensive ability. This is what the author of Oda himself said. From this we can see how explosive Akainu's fighting power is. However, Kaido is not a vegetarian, too special body, strong combat power will never lose to Akainu. Perhaps a spear and shield duel, sparks flying, will be extremely fierce. In the marine camp, Aizen and Madara are already fighting. Aizen is temporarily entangled with Fujitora, who is intrigued by the gravity abilities. Whereas Madara meets Kizaru, it's a different kind of fight. Kizaru's shining ability made Madara extremely uncomfortable. However, Madara is invincible in offense and defense, and Kizaru's attack is completely harmless to him. As for rocks, Garp has already been targeted. This pair of old enemies had fought life and death battles decades ago, and seeing each other now, they naturally found each other. Garp, do you still have doubts about what I said back then? Rocks asked Garp instead without making a move. Zebek, back then, no matter what you said was right or wrong, it would not change my determination. Garp said lightly. Haha, people in the monkey family are all brains. I'm just asking, how do you see it now? Rocks asked persistently. Back then, it was the time of the Valley of Gods War. At that time, Garp and Luogia teamed up against the Peak Rocks. Rocks once told Garp about the history and past of the D group, the mission of their two groups, and the hidden darkness and meanness of the world government. However, Rocks was too crazy at that time, whether it was the world government or civilians, they were all within the scope of his crazy revenge. He threatened the whole world too much, destroyed too much, and killed too much. Such a dangerous person, no matter what his reasons are, will not be recognized by Garp and Luogia. Now, with the resurrection of Su Mu, the history of the D clan has been brought to the surface. The past of the world government was also brought up. Although celestial dragons tried their best to suppress it, some people knew the truth. As Marine Vice Admiral, Garp, an old Marine, how could he not know? He is a member of the monkey family, the D family, and he empathizes most. Zebek, no matter who you and I are, my justice will not change. The mission of the family has become a cloud, and my fist only recognizes my own justice. Garp expressed his attitude. He is for this world, not for a certain force or mission. From his unwillingness to become admiral, unwilling to become a thug of the world government, he has already explained his beliefs. Su Mu is the prince of Clan D, and now he has returned from resurrection, leading Clan D, and vowed to regain the former glory. Are you unwilling to follow? Rocks asked. Haha, forget it, it's useless to ask. You won't agree, let's fight. Rocks smiled indifferently. Who doesn't know Garp's stubborn temper? Back then you and Luogia defeated me together, and now it's only you alone. It's my turn to show off this time. Rocks walked towards Garp, his body bursting with a powerful aura. I was not at the peak back then, but you were the peak. It is not shameful for me and Luogia to join forces. Now that you are resurrected, you are still at the peak. Although I am old, my combat power and state have not declined. Rocks, come on, let's have a good fight. Unafraid, Garp charged directly at the rocks. The ceiling of the two great powers collided, and suddenly the mountains fell and the ground cracked. These two guys are good at fighting. Uchiha Madara watched the battle between Garp and Rocks, licked his lips, very eager to try, and wanted to join in. After all, the guy he was fighting with was always paddling around to hide, which made him feel like he was hitting cotton. Simple and violent, with a good momentum, he should have been chosen to fight just now. Aizen was also observing the battle between Rocks and Garp, and wanted to fight Garp very much. His opponent, Fujitora, is technical and has special abilities. But Aizen still likes to fight with violent people. As for the others, they all began to look for opponents and fight to their heart's content. Only Aokiji is avoiding, not wanting to conflict with Marine. He abused the beast's pirates. As for Su Mu, look at Ghost Island. In a flash, he disappeared again. This time, he went to Ghost Island and came to a dungeon. Here, a girl with big breasts is imprisoned. She is Yamato. Space shift. Su Mu directly used the space ability to move Yamato with him. In the next moment, Su Mu disappeared again and came to the capital of flowers. Reiju greeted the two, and asked with a smirk, "Have you been conquered by Captain Su Mu? It's almost time to end this boring battle. You know, he is an existence that won't get tired after fighting with admiral-level characters for days and nights." After all, Reiju took the two of them away, and was still exchanging ideas with the two girls along the way. Here, he is looking for Xiaozi. After all, the girls are still too lonely. It has not been a day, and with his strong body, he is actually tired. "Two sisters, come with me to the hot spring area to go for a dip. It will get rid of your fatigue and nourish your yin and yang. These two are the two beauties of Wano Kuni and deserve to be on board. The resurrection is so big, usually those men are either training or fighting, and they are the only ones left on board." Su Mu had already said in her heart that these two girls should be put on board, and the yang and yin on the boat should not be too serious. But for the two new partners, Ain, Reiju and others are not jealous, but happy. That wicked smile made Yamato and Xiaozi blush. This made Reiju look at Xiaozi and the two with ulterior motives. I don't know what kind of charm Su Mu used to conquer the two of them. This man is indeed very charming, and they will only follow after they are indeed completely conquered. Su Mu yawned and seemed a little tired. Half a day later, Su Mu returned to the resurrection with the two girls, and the two of them followed Su Mu willingly. Chapter 151 Fujitora lobbied and returned to Marine. Advertise here. In today's battlefield, the situation is already very clear. The Blackbeard pirates have been wiped out. Blackbeard was killed by Ace and swallowed by Su Mu. The strong Shiryu of the Rain was killed by Ben Beckman, and several others were also killed by Katakuri and others. Of course, Sister Bauer also made a move under the protection of several people, and fought a lot. And the beast's pirates, before Kaido was reclaimed, almost collapsed. The battle between Yenjujin and Ace is coming to an end. Su Mu didn't let Kaido intervene in this battle at all, because this is a battle that must be fought, and the life and death of Yenjujin depends on the final result. Su Mu doesn't appreciate the fire disaster, he is far less happy than Katakuri. Plague Quinn was dead by then. As for Jack, the top iron baby, he still has a sigh of relief, and Su Mu specially asked someone to give him a sigh of relief. After all, Jack is still a lot of fun to keep as a pistachio. As for Fei Lubao and others, Su Mu let it be and did not force it. And for Beast's pirates, Kaido didn't pay attention either. They were originally gathered because of the strength of force, and they didn't have much emotion at all. Today, Kaido still has no ambition to dominate the sea. Facing Su Mu, he feels as small as an ant. Besides Su Mu, there are many existences who are not weaker than him, and there are even several people who are stronger than him. Now his mentality has become that he wants to follow Su Mu to see the final end of the world. After all, the rivalry between the clan of D and the Celestial Dragons is destined to end with the complete destruction of one side. This exciting war was absolutely unprecedented and made him extremely excited. And now, the final battleground is on Marine's side. Although the battle is not over yet, the Avengers have already gained the upper hand. After all, the number and quality of the Avengers' top-level combat power have an absolute advantage, and the victory or defeat is only a matter of time, and it won't be too long. Su Mu came to the battlefield and stood with Hongfa and others, looking at the people who were still fighting. Now participating in the battle, Marine's Admiral, Vice Admiral and Akainu. On the side of the Avengers, Aizen, Madara, Rocks, Kaido, Golden Lion, Big Mom, Zephyr, Hawkeye and others have pushed Marine to the point of danger, and only a few of them can persist. Captain Su Mu, is this war still necessary? The redhead had already put his hands aside and stood aside, looking at the doomed Marine, he asked Su Mu cautiously. Marine's defeat is inevitable, but Redhead has never been a killer, and he doesn't want to see Marine's cruel ending. It's almost time to end the battle, but there is one person who doesn't seem to want to compromise. Su Mu looked at the battlefield. Akainu was still fighting angrily. It's just that his opponents are not at the level of Whitebeard's captains. Naturally, Akainu can't be as imposing as some at war. Even, he is constantly deflated. It is true that his combat power is extremely strong, and the fruit ability can be said to be the ability with the strongest attack power, but some people's talents and strange abilities are beyond his defense. Smile. Su Mu said loudly. Fujitora, who was fighting Aizen, understood that Su Mu was giving the captain's order. He withdrew his sword and stopped fighting with Aizen. Although his body was covered with wounds and he was at a disadvantage, at least with Aizen's weird and pervert ability, he could fight for a long time, which was already extremely difficult. Aizen looked at Su Mu and had to give up the fight. He knew that Su Mu had plans and arrangements. All former comrades in arms, I will say goodbye to you today with a smile. Fujitora used his ability to fly a rock into the sky, and said loudly to everyone in Marine. In order to better implement justice, I actively signed up to join the Marine as soon as the world government launched the world conscription. In just a few months, my mental journey seems to be more than the experience and feelings of the previous 10 years, which also makes me more I have a deep understanding of the true face of the world government. Everyone, the celestial dragons have been corrupted, and 800 years of corruption have swallowed every place from top to bottom. Don't deceive yourself anymore. Garp, if you don't stick to the justice in your heart, will you still be in Marine? World government and celestial dragons, why have you ever taken it to heart? Kizaru, where can't you work? After staying in Marine for so many years, don't you get tired? There may be different surprises in another place. Sengoku, Crane, you are old sea soldiers like Garp, what have you got after decades of military service? This sea is still full of countless pirates. The world government has unimaginable power, but when will they make up their minds to eradicate all pirates? Don't forget, the family that Celestial Dragons belongs to can secretly do ulterior motives with many pirates, and they have interests with pirates. Fujitora said a lot of truth in one breath, sonorous and forceful. He can't see it because he doesn't want to see it. So his heart is brighter than anything else, and every word he speaks penetrates into people's hearts. Garp, Kizaru, Sengoku, and Crane all looked solemn and fell into conflict. Seeing this, Fujitora said again. Nowadays, the Avengers led by Su Mu are extremely powerful, and they are fully capable of killing all of Marine here today, but he will not do so, because Marine's justice is fundamentally different from that of the world government. You are not that corrupt, one side is just on the wrong team. Of course, except for very few people. After Fujitora finished speaking, he looked at Su Mu. He throws bricks to attract jade, what should be said and what should be done has been done satisfactorily. It can be said that it is very beautifully done. In this way, Marine has 3 admirals as Su Mu's crew. Akainu, you're talking the wrong way. It's not me who was killed today, but you. The white flame wings behind Ace boiled, spread their wings, and rushed over. Fujitora drew his sword and sneered. Su Mu gave Fujitora a thumbs up, slowly walked out from behind, and came to the midair with a flash, and the whole person was directly suspended in the midair. Akainu's vicious words did not hurt Fujitora. On the contrary, he said with a smile, a true warrior dares to face himself, constantly change himself, break through himself, and surpass himself. It is right to choose Marine, but for celestial dragons and world government it is wrong for corrupt groups to do whatever they want. I can correct myself in time and thoroughly implement my own justice, which is much better than you, a morally respected person who values power. His words immediately made Marine explode. There was almost no response. Akainu gritted his teeth, pointed at Fujitora and cursed. Smile, you shameless person, you don't deserve to be a Marine. I will now officially fire you. However, what responded to his words was silence. There is no need to talk to you, Fujitora, you betrayed Marine, today I will lead all Marines to surround and kill you. Akainu said sharply. Before Aokiji, Zephyr, the former Marine Admiral, also joined Su Mu after being revived by Su Mu. This is a recent example in Marine other than Aokiji. On the other side, Whitebeard strode forward with a grin. Admiral of Marine turned out to be a pirate and a local crew member. Su Mu said with a smile. Smile, you are already my partner. This is simply recreating a Marine faction. Marine's 3 highest combat powers turned out to be pirates, and they were still under the command of one person. Chapter 152 Incorporate the Marine plan to start, Smoker applies to join. Advertise here. Tang Hu echoed, Whitebeard and Ace can't wait. Summit War didn't last long. The damage Akainu caused to them is still deeply remembered. Not only physical and life trauma, but also the destruction of hope and family affection. Although Marine and pirates are destined to be enemies, many times they don't want to live forever. However, for Akainu and Whitebeard, Ace, they are already immortal. Today, since Akainu led the Marine to Wano-Kuni, it seems that the feud will end here. Akainu, to unite Kaido and Blackbeard to kill the Avengers. And Whitebeard and Ace will also fight back to kill Akainu strongly, and completely settle their grievances. They didn't do anything all the time, they were looking out for the overall situation, waiting for Su Mu's answer. Compared with Su Mu's plan, their personal grievances can only be put behind. After all, Su Mu gave them a new life, and what Su Mu wants to do concerns the whole world. To overthrow the rule of celestial dragons, it must be put first. Now, when Su Mu told Tang Hu to start talking, he was already nodding his head. It's time for them to put an end to this long-standing hatred. Everyone, we don't have an endless feud with Marine, we just have different positions. Su Mu stood up and said loudly again, the so-called position is nothing more than our opposition to celestial dragons and the world government. You Marine, to be honest, you are not opposed to us at all. On the contrary, we are on the same side. Su Mu looked at the senior management of Marine and said seriously, think about it, what is the original intention of the establishment of Marine? What is the original intention of you joining Marine? What is the mission of Marine? You are gathered together for the sake of justice. Your original intention of joining Marine is to make the world a better place. Your mission is to protect the beauty of the world and the happiness and tranquility of the people. However, today, Marine's behavior is very different from your original mission. You have become the thugs of the world government, your marshal, only the corrupt moths of the celestial dragons are the fate, in order to eradicate me and cover up the ugliness of thousands of years ago, even at the expense of joining forces with pirates. Su Mu's words are extremely provocative and shocking. If Tengu suddenly turns back, it will only open a crack for the unstable dam of Marine. Su Mu's words were like a heavy hammer, directly smashing the dam to pieces. Lenovo's major events in recent months, especially the emergence of Su Mu, the survival of the D family hundreds of years ago, the ugliness of celestial dragons, corruption incidents in various places, the ruthless deprivation and killing of Marine, etc. The anger in Marine's heart exploded completely. Su Mu was right. The original intention of our Marine establishment was not to be a lackey of the world government. That's right. First joined Marine to protect my hometown and the safety of the people, not a thug called the world government. Some time ago, in order to eliminate Su Mu, the world government actually sent the Air Force to bombard naval headquarters indiscriminately, resulting in the death of thousands of comrades. This account must not rest on this. It is the lives of thousands of soldiers. The world government is too ruthless. Quote, I really believe now that in the war of the century thousands of years ago, the celestial dragons really colluded with evil forces to defeat the group of D. However, it is impossible for evil forces not to take advantage of it. Believe it, this world has been ruled by celestial dragons for 800 years. The corruption on the surface is already obvious. What if there is corruption that we don't even know about, or even the darkness that subverts this world? What is the evil power? In what form do they exist in the world today? What purpose do they have? The elites of Marine have exploded, discussing one after another, and have strong doubts and hatred for the world government. Even among those discussing, there is Vice Admiral of Marine. Even people at the Admiral level are listening attentively, paying close attention, and talking non-stop. Obviously, they have also been shaken. Su Mu's words completely shattered the fig leaf that they had left in their hearts for Marine. Today, I don't have any expectations of being in the world government. Marine, there must be a complete overhaul. This is the unanimous approval of Marine's top management. Su Mu glanced at the expressions of everyone in Marine, and was very satisfied with today's results. He had already planted a seed in Marine's heart, just waiting to germinate and bear fruit. This seed, which no longer trusts the world government, even for the sake of justice in their hearts, will eventually turn against the celestial dragons. Everyone, I formed the Avengers, not only to complete my revenge, but to give this world a better future. Whitebeard, Rayleigh, Rox, Aokiji, Zephyr, etc., can all find their lives here. The goal is only with me, see the possibility of success. Come on, if you want the light of this world, join me, and together with me, overthrow the world government and build a new world together. Su Mu's voice swayed in the hearts of everyone, as if possessing magical power. He is not tall, and seems to be full of holy light, attracting everyone to worship. Can you guarantee that if the D clan takes power, it will be better than the celestial dragons? Someone cautiously raised doubts. This is indeed what he wants to do in the future. And he wants to figure out the source of the evil power, completely destroy it, protect the world and his family. Others also looked puzzled. I also need to go. His voice and decision once again set off huge waves in Marine, and many people stepped forward with firm eyes. What about you? Is it for revenge? Can you turn a blind eye to the dream of world domination? This time, Marine Vice Admiral Smoker asked back. Hula la la la. At that time, count me in, if I can live until then. Whitebeard heard Su Mu's plan, and he couldn't help but feel proud, and wanted to follow Su Mu to make a fortune. Everyone, I know your scruples. The other world I'm talking about is real. The world we live in is just one of the worlds, and there are many other worlds that exist independently in different time and space just like our current world. Dimension. For example, the evil forces colluded by celestial dragons actually come from other worlds. Due to a coincidence, part of the forces fell into our world. I made it clear that when the rule of celestial dragons is overthrown, the evil forces must be completely eliminated. This kind of extraterrestrial civilization is eroding our world. When the time comes, I will go to that world to see it. Su Mu rarely expressed his far-reaching thoughts. Me, haha, have no interest in dominating the world. Smoker stood up and became one of the first Marine executives to change the pervert degree and apply to join. Smoker's question is also a question they care about, and they really hope that Su Mu can give a clear answer. Of course it can be guaranteed, because in the future world, not the D family has the final say, but everyone has the final say. This world will be managed by us together. Su Mu smiled lightly. Su Mu looked at Smoker, shook his head and said, at that time, the only thing I miss in this world is my family. My eyes will be on another world. Ha ha ha, life should be forging ahead and fighting for justice. It is better to be vigorous for a while than to spend a lifetime of nothing. I have decided to leave Marine and join the Avengers, and asked Captain Su Mu for permission. In the Avengers, Rox, Aokiji, Aizen, Tornado and others are looking forward to it. Count me in. Another world. Smoker narrowed his eyes, not understanding what Sumu meant. Chapter 153 Kizaru's True Combat Power. Advertise here. Smoker was originally Aokiji's favorite person, and not long ago, Aokiji also talked with him on the phone. Possibly, Aokiji also influenced him, making him dare to stand up first. But in fact, this is also related to the justice he insists on. As Marine Vice Admiral, Smoker joined Sumu in front of Akainu, which made Akainu couldn't stand it anymore. The huge magma blasted directly at Smoker, and Akainu wanted to kill Smoker directly. Boom. At the critical moment, the huge magma fist was directly blocked by a golden beam of light. Yolu, Sakazuki, the old man thinks what he said with a smile makes sense. Smoker dares to face himself, and should not be punished. The golden light disappeared, and Kizaru appeared in front of Smoker. Kizaru Admiral. Smoker looked incredulously at Marine Admiral who blocked Akainu's powerful blow in front of him. It's just unbelievable. Kizaru, who has always been a mixed salary, actually stood up to help himself at a critical moment, and he still confronted Marine Marshal Akainu. This scene not only shocked Smoker, everyone present opened their mouths in shock. Kizaru, are you crazy? You are Admiral of Marine, are you going to rebel too? Akainu shouted angrily. Yorioli, Skarsky, I'm just telling the truth. Kizaru put his hands in his pockets, looking fearless. Are you going to join Suemu's command? Akainu asked coldly. You have to think clearly, this is an enemy of the world, celestial dragons and the world government will kill you. Akainu threatened. Yoli, I'm so scared. Kizaru narrowed his eyes, turned to look at Sumu and said, as a Marine Admiral, what's the benefit of joining your command? Don't look at Kizaru's usual lazy look, but he still has plans in his heart. Haha. There is only one benefit, your salary will be multiplied by 100 times. Sumu joked with a big laugh. Really? Kizaru's eyes lit up. When will my Sumu talk count? Sumu assured. At his level, money is like dung and means nothing to him. With his means, he can have as much as he wants. 100 times the salary, you have to think about it. You have to give me at least 10 million berry a month. Kizaru looked at Sumu with interest. Haha, with your ability, 10 million berry is really not in line with your status, it is simply cheap. Sumu laughed. Kizaru has released the signal, which is better news than Smoker's initiative to join. Marine's Admiral, the highest combat power has joined him, will the entire Marine be far behind? Kizaru, you shameless villain, it was a waste of time for Marine to watch and cultivate you, you failed us. Akainu pointed at Kizaru and cursed. Come on, Sakazuki, life is too short, half of my life is over, it's time to think about myself. I have paid back the training that Marine has given me for more than 10 years, and I have gained the meritorious deeds of Marine are definitely worthy of Marine's cultivation of me. Besides, the Marine in my heart is not what you call Marine. Kizaru looked at Akainu and retorted unhurriedly. Although his words were not sharp enough, he was full of confidence and showed no sign of weakness. Kizaru, the monthly salary of 10 million berry is probably higher than that of 5 elders, right? Sumu looked at Kizaru jokingly, and continued, you have also seen that on my ship, there are a lot of admiral-level combat power. It would be better to have one more of you, and it would not hurt to lose one of you. In this case, you have to express your sincerity. Bar. Kizaru looked at Sumu, sighed helplessly, and said to Akainu, respected Marshal Marine, the Marine who claims to have the strongest offensive fruit in the world has the highest combat power, let me verify today if there is any problem with your title. Quote. Akainu squinted his eyes, looking at Kizaru's eyes eager to try, even full of light, looking extremely puzzled. He had never seen this kind of look in Kizaru's eyes before. Even in Summit War, facing the Whitebeard pirates, he didn't show such excitement. This is completely like a different person. Could it be that this guy really did this for only tens of millions of berries money? Haha. Kizaru, if you can pay Akainu, labor management will give you an extra bonus of 100 million berry. Sumu laughed. Whether Kizaru is really for money or has other purposes, Sumu doesn't care. At this moment, he wanted to continue watching the stock in his wicked eyes. The wages are in place, the 4 emperors are dry. The bonus is in place, and the marshal can hammer it. Sumu wants to see what the real strength of the paddling king Kizaru is. Aokiji looked at Sumu with strange eyes and asked, Captain Sumu, what are you holding back? Sumu patted Aokiji's shoulder, raised his eyebrows, and asked, how does Kizaru's combat power compare with yours? Aokiji thought for a while, then returned uncertainly, Kizaru is my senior, and I don't seem to see him in a panic for so many years, nor have I seen him fight with all his strength, so his strength has reached to what extent, I don't know. Then take a good look, maybe Kizaru can help you out. Sumu said with a half smile. Hey, I hope Kizaru can surprise Akainu. Aokiji's lips curled up. Sumu waved, stopped Whitebeard and Ace, and gave them a look, temporarily stopping their revenge. Whitebeard and Ace nodded, of course they knew Suemu's intention. Revenge, although it will be late, will come. The battle between Kizaru and Akainu broke out, which caused the entire marine to become turbulent. Some hesitant marine elites, with flickering eyes, seemed to have begun to make up their minds. Kizaru showed shocking strength and was in a terrible mess. He changed his lazy style, which made Akainu very uncomfortable. Half an hour later, Akainu and Kizaru were covered in injuries. This was a fight with all their strength. Kizaru, don't waste time, is this all you have? Su-Mu added fuel to the side. Kizaru gritted his teeth and attacked more ferociously. The shining ability was applied to ultimate, golden light and attacks were everywhere, and red magma was splashed everywhere. Akainu was being beaten violently. Akainu was temporarily suppressed and was seriously injured. But Kizaru didn't feel well either, getting grazed by Dark Hound on the arm and nearly breaking it. However, this result really shocked many people, and Aokiji felt incredible. Kizaru's combat power is not weaker than Akainu's, and his instant burst is even stronger than Akainu's. That is to say, Kizaru's combat effectiveness is higher than his. Sengoku, as the former Marshal of Marine, as one of the Marine the resourceful general, and now the Captain of Marine, can only helplessly ask the old comrades around him for their views on this matter. As for he, it seemed that he also wanted to get out just now to see the development of the situation. From Garp's words, it can be seen that Garp seems to be more inclined to side with Su-Mu. What are you waiting for? Sengoku asked. The pot exploded again in Marine, this time nearly half of the Marine experience came out, saying that they would join Su-Mu's command. My attitude has always been the same. I am not a thug of the world government, but only for the justice in my heart. You too, you have to make a decision. Today's Marine must either perish or exist in another form. My choice, it will take a while longer. Garp said seriously. The fight between Kizaru and Akainu is over, and the consequences are huge. Not just because of getting an admiral combat power, but because of verifying Kizaru's real combat power. The trend of the times. Besides, this world should indeed change. Crane calmly analyzed. Haha, Kizaru, your sincerity is enough. The bonus will be sent to you later. Su-Mu was very happy. Today, nearly half of the Marines joined Su-Mu's command, and it is impossible to stop them. Crane, Garp, what do you two think? Sengoku asked the two old comrades beside him. Of course, among them are the recent ideological works of Tengu, Aokiji, Smoker and others. Thank you, Captain Su-Mu. Kizaru stepped back, glanced at Akainu, then at Whitebeard, and sighed. As for Sengoku himself, he remains conflicted and indecisive. In the entire Marine, apart from Garp, I am afraid no one can beat Kizaru. Even in Vice Admiral, 3 or 4 people stood up. Garp looked at Sengoku, picked his nose and mouth, and said, I'm waiting for Su-Mu to resurrect the ancestor of the monkey family. Chapter 154 Akainu's Death, Whitebeard's Revenge. Advertise here. Garp's words surprised Sengoku. A rough Garp, at this time it looks like the resourceful general. Don't look at me so surprised. It's impossible for me to be so rough when it comes to the grievances between the D group and the Celestial Dragons. Although Su-Mu has great strength now, it is still a little worse than the world government after all. But if reviving those ancestors of the monkey family, the result is different. Garp said lightly. Garp, have you ever wondered, if Su-Mu can resurrect the strong man who died for nearly 1,000 years, why his father and big brother were not resurrected? Sengoku asked back. I know what you mean. Su-Mu's resurrection ability has not been awakened yet, and she can't revive the strong man who died thousands of years ago. However, this is only a matter of time after all. Garp said calmly. Garp, this is the first time I've seen you analyze the situation so calmly. Sengoku looked at Garp differently. So, are you still hesitating? Garp asked back. For the sake of justice in his heart, Garp will temporarily choose a front with Su-Mu. Because of the blood mission, he had to choose to be with Su-Mu. So in his heart, he still hopes that Su-Mu can grow stronger and overthrow the world government. So here, he even became a lobbyist, trying to push his old comrades into Su-Mu's boat. You also said that it is only a matter of time before Su-Mu's fruit ability awakens, so why not join him now and support him? Sengoku raised doubts. Sengoku, I think Garp is because of his son. Suru explained. Revolutionary Army leader. Sengoku narrowed his eyes, then smiled. Dorig's attitude is unclear, so you don't want to disturb your son because you rashly joined Su-Mu. Sengoku seemed to have found the answer. Garp nodded and said nothing more. Since even Sengoku, Crane, and Garp don't care about those who choose to join Su-Mu in Marine, this makes some people who are still hesitant fully understand the determination of Marine's top management. The change of Marine seems to have started from this moment. This change is not subtle, but significant. 90% of the entire Marine elite, Vice Admiral and other levels already have the answer in mind. As for the few people who have one heart with Akainu, they are full of anger at this time. But the result was that they didn't dare to take any action at all. And his hope, Marine Marshal Akainu, is facing a great enemy at this time. Because, that monster, the strongest man in the world, was walking towards Akainu with big strides under Su-Mu's gaze. Beside him, Ace followed closely with a determined face. The father and son are here for revenge today. Su-Mu retreated with everyone in the Avengers, leaving the battlefield to Whitebeard and Ace. In Marine, those who want to seek refuge with Su-Mu naturally follow in Su-Mu's footsteps. As for some loyal fans of Akainu, they were targeted, making them unable to move at all. The battlefield was left to these 3 people. Boom. The battle broke out. Ace took the lead, bombarded by the white flame giant fist, and expanded with Akainu's magma fist, breaking the sky suddenly. Admiral-level collisions, the entire sky can hardly bear it. Ace has fought twice in a row, and now he is already like a crazy lion, extremely excited. He strikes with all his strength and fears nothing. Today, his strength has already been turned upside down. The essence of flame ability, armament hockey reached advanced level, even Conqueror's hockey was inspired by him, and then reached intermediate level. Today, he is hardly weaker than Akainu in terms of hockey and taijutsu. Even the fruit ability, due to the evolution, is not restrained by lava fruit. Today, it is fighting with strength. Ace's explosive battle is completely crazy, using all means and means. He is no longer the weak captain in the Summit War, but now his combat strength has reached the admiral level. Akainu was very uncomfortable, he was beaten up by Kizaru and suffered serious injuries, and faced with Ace's crazy attack, it was inevitable to be injured again. On the side, there is Whitebeard watching over him. Akainu is under great pressure and dare not be negligent. He needs to be distracted and pay attention to Whitebeard, so as not to be attacked by Whitebeard. In this way, his battle with Ace seemed evenly matched. An hour later, neither side actually took advantage of it, and they were completely exchanging injuries for injuries. Whitebeard held Kong Yunchi in his hand and finally moved. Conqueror's hockey bloomed on him, walking towards Akainu like a prehistoric monster. Whitebeard, in your capacity, you actually want to join forces with others to fight against me. Isn't it ridiculous? Akainu hastily mocked. It's aggressive and doesn't want Whitebeard to go. Today, he has to deal with Ace's madness carefully, not to mention the more terrifying Whitebeard. And Wano Kuni's far-reaching battle has come to an end. And the secret backer behind Marine has become the Avengers. Akainu, the Marine Marshal, one of the most powerful men in the Marine, is being completely suppressed and beaten. Whitebeard had no expression on his face, he had already raised Kong Yunchi high in his hand, and the shocking ability bloomed at the tip of the knife, and rushed towards Akainu. Akainu was directly bombed and died a miserable death. This is not a competition to compete for who is number 1 in the world, but revenge. Whitebeard, the peak, has no old physical diseases, no aging physical strength and energy, the whole person is like a fighter among monsters, every move is destructive, and Akainu is blown away like a chicken. An hour later, even though Akainu was in an elemental body, magma was flying around, and the high-level armament hockey was constantly weakening and hurting the magma, and the white flame was burning the magma little by little, making him unable to recover and resurrect. Kaido surrendered, the Blackbeard pirates were wiped out, Marine Marshal Akainu died, and Marine declared independence. Everyone looked at the scene of this battle in shock, and their mouths grew wide. Ding, the Summoner's battle has had a great impact on this sea and the world, rewarding 100 resurrection points, which can raise the level of the resurrection to LV5. Akainu, don't provoke me. Today's theme is revenge, the grievance between me, Ace and you, so I want to kill you together with him. As for the opinions of outsiders, hula la la la. It's really a joke. Whitebeard is not as good as you in the eyes of outsiders. Even if it is a one-on-one fight, I will kill you. However, I don't want to waste Captain Su Emu's time. Whitebeard and Ace made wild moves to vent their hatred. In Su Emu's mind, the system rewards arrived as scheduled. Ding, combined with the results of the Wano Kuni battlefield, reward 5 summoning opportunities. With one step of Su Emu's footsteps, he flew into the battlefield, and the gluttonous power gushed out from his body, swallowing Akainu's magma and depriving him of his lava fruit. Whitebeard joins the fray, along with Ace, to kill Akainu quickly. At this point, Akainu died completely. Chapter 155 The Target, Town of East Blue Rog. Advertise here. In Su Emu's mind, the system's rewards were delivered in time. These days, for Su Mu, the usual rewards are not enough to get him excited. But the system also seems to know that if the reward given to Su Mu is not what he likes, then the value of the system will be meaningless. This time, the system will send 100 resurrection points, which can directly upgrade the resurrection number to LV5. Su Mu has known before that the resurrection has reached the LV5 level, and in addition to more advanced improvements in reminders and interiors, another function has been added. That is the dimensional cannon. There were originally 8 cannons on the resurrection, which were almost decorations before. Because these cannons use ordinary shells, it is simply reckless. The shapes and functions of these cannons are built into the system, and they are designed and produced for the use of dimensional cannons. Before, Su Mu was rewarded with a dimensional cannon, and directly killed the Gate of Justice, which was twice as thick as before. It can be seen that the great power of the dimensional cannon. A bombardment is more terrifying than a buster call. Now, with 100 resurrection points, the resurrection number can be upgraded to LV5, the attack mode can be turned on, and the 8-gate dimensional cannon can be activated normally. However, there is currently a restriction, that is, each cannon can only be fired once a day. This made Su Mu a little bit upset. How great would it be if it could be bombarded infinitely? I'm afraid, this 8-gate cannon is enough to sweep the entire world. However, when the resurrection reached the LV9 level, it would be able to achieve unlimited bombardment. Although more resurrection points are needed, Su-mu is still full of confidence, because the subversion of this world has just begun, and major events affecting the world will continue to follow, and his resurrection points will also increase. Another reward of this system is 5 summoning opportunities. This time, the summoning opportunities are all the objects that he absolutely summons, which makes Su-mu most excited. He is looking forward to the powerhouse of Otherworld. In the last life, when he was on Earth, he was a proper nerd and a proper manga fan. So he still knows a lot about some strong people in anime. Today, on the pirate ship Resurrection, there are already 5 Otherworld powerhouses. Tornado, Uchiha Madara, Aizen, Orochimaru, Boa. But soon, the number of Otherworld powerhouses will increase to 10. Su-mu's eyeballs rolled, and he was already planning in his mind the next strongman to be summoned. Wano Kuni ends, Marine returns, and Aokiji goes back with Marine. This time, Aokiji is going back to be Marine. The decision of Wano Kuni Marine is known to no one except the Avengers. Therefore, on the surface, Marine is still the Marine of the world government, but secretly, of course, it is no longer the same as before. As long as the time is right, and Su-mu orders, Marine will be a backbone force to overthrow the world government. As for the very few Akainu supporters in Marine, use Aokiji to solve it by yourself. The Blackbeard pirates were destroyed, the Beast's pirates were destroyed, and only Kaido remained, following on the resurrection. In Wano Kuni, there are Ryoma, Yamato, and Xiaozi on the boat. Oh, everyone, wait for me for a few minutes. On the resurrection, Su-mu asked everyone to wait for him. As soon as he stretched out his hand, he took Xiaozi's waist and flew out of the resurrection, leaving a few girls on board pouting in displeasure. Xiaozi, where is your mother's grave? In midair, Su-mu asked Xiaozi in her arms. What are you going to do? Xiaozi asked puzzled. Almost 20 years, have you missed your mother? Su-mu asked with a smile. Of course I miss her very much, but Xiaozi had a sad face. Her mother has been dead for 18 years. That's right, as my crew, what I'm most happy to see is your family reunion. Su-mu laughed. You. Xiaozi's eyes widened. That's right, you should have guessed my identity, right? Su-mu smiled slightly and flew towards the direction Xiaozi pointed at. A few minutes later, Xiaozi hugged and cried with her mother, and the mother and daughter were reunited. Xiaozi's mother is really a great beauty, her style is not inferior to Xiaozi's, she has a kind of ripe peach charm. Just as Su-mu was about to take the mother and daughter onto the boat, Xiaozi knelt down in front of Su-mu. Lord Su-mu, please revive my father too. Ah, Su-mu's mouth twitched. He was completely displeased. After all, a mother and daughter would be fine on board, and a father and husband would be too. Besides, Su-mu doesn't like Oden's stupid character. But Xiaozi's big eyes were watery, and she looked so pitiful, so Su-mu had no choice but to bear the pain, and brought Kazuki Oden back to life by the way. The Beast's pirates were destroyed, and Wano Kuni's general should be taken over by Oden, so even if Oden was resurrected, he had to stay. As for Xiaozi's mother, a beautiful woman, of course she chose to stay. Xiaozi followed Su-mu back to the resurrection, officially left Wano Kuni, and started her new life. The resurrection launched, took off from Wano Kuni, and flew towards the sea outside Wano Kuni. Su-mu, where are you going next? Whitebeard asked. It seems that there is less than a week left before the 1-month deadline for the Valley of the Gods. Rayleigh added on the side. That's right, we're getting ready for the Battle of the Valley of the Gods. Everyone is fighting constantly, so it's time to replenish your strength. Kaido also got involved, and still regarded himself as a member of the Avengers. Rox, in your opinion, with our current strength, what are the odds of winning? Su-mu asked. Today's Avengers alliance can be said to have many masters. Not many, but too many. This power, apart from the world government, any power has to hold a candle to it and regard it as a behemoth. As a person who participated in the Valley of Gods War, Rox is the most clear about the special nature of the Valley of Gods and the layout of the world government. With our current forces, if we go to the Valley of the Gods, the probability of being able to draw with the world government is even greater. Rox said solemnly. My war in the Valley of the Gods was actually just a small fight, and I didn't even break through the outermost area of the Valley of the Gods. I didn't know until I was arrested and imprisoned in the Valley of the Gods. What kind of horror is that? Rox paused, seeming to be remembering, and said in a deep voice after a while, the Valley of the Gods is one of the 5 dark places of the world government. There are a group of extremely powerful black Deadpools cultivated in secret, and even, there is an evil force that does not belong to this world. Quote. It is not easy to make Rox so cautious, even fearful. I'm afraid that Rox can't express its horror with prophecy alone. With the current power of the Avengers, it can only be a tie. Su-mu really never expected it. In particular, it involves the evil power of Otherworld, which is the black hand behind the destruction of the D family. Then it seems that we are not fully sure that we have gone. If this is the case, then we should have a few more powerful companions. Su-mu seemed relatively calm, and already had a plan in mind. There is only one restart in his life, and he is not allowed to fail again, otherwise it will really be beyond redemption. Su-mu, are you finally going to East Blue? Rayleigh's eyes widened, looking extremely excited. That's right, Rayleigh, it's finally time to fulfill the agreement you and I made. Su Mu patted Rayleigh, who was trembling with excitement. Chapter 156 5 Elders Undercover. Advertise here. Su Mu's words not only excited Rayleigh, even Whitebeard was excited. Kulalala. The old guy who is also an enemy and a friend, is he coming back at last? Whitebeard opened his mouth, and Kong Yunch in his hand was already roaring with excitement. Captain Su Mu, are you really going to Rog Town? The red-haired Shanks was relaxing with a drink, but when he heard a few people talking, he quickly threw his glass aside. Ace stood aside with an inexplicable expression, whether it was excitement or conflict. In his heart, he had always hated his father. Because of his father, his mother died. Ace blamed Luo Jia's lack of protection for his mother's death, and Luo Jia's identity caused the mother to delay childbirth in order to protect herself, which hurt her body. Thieves, ha ha ha. I think back then, in the whole sea, only Luo Jia could compete with me. I really miss that time. I didn't expect to see Luo Jia again now. It's really exciting. Golden Lion licked his tongue, his eyes were full of war, and he seemed to have returned to his youth. In the old sea, he, the Golden Lion, was so powerful that he pushed the Luo Jia pirates into a desperate situation. If it weren't for the intruding tsunami, the Luo Jia pirates might have been defeated by his Golden Lion, thus establishing his road to becoming king. It's just a pity that the tsunami saved the Luo Jia pirates and completely wiped out the Golden Lion's luck. Most of his fleet was lost, and since then it has been in decline, and the entire sea has become a battleground between Luo Jia and Whitebeard. The unruly Golden Lion is most recognized by Luo Jia. After hearing that Luo Jia surrendered himself, he went to naval headquarters alone to fight and vent his anger. He fought against Garp and Sengoku all by himself and never retreated. It can be seen how high Luo Jia's status is in his heart. Now, Su Mu is going to revive Luo Jia, how can these old fellows not be excited? Ha ha, Garp, Sengoku, if they know that Luo Jia is resurrected, they will be so shocked that their eyes will fall. Zephyr laughed, as if imitating the funny expressions of Garp and others. Who are you resurrecting? It seems that everyone is looking forward to it. Is it a strong person? Uchiha Madara asked coldly. If it is a strong person, he will start to itch. It looks like he's someone to look forward to. Tornado smiled charmingly. When you see it, you will know. This guy is the former king of this sea. Su Mu said with a slight smile. Oh, interesting. Aizen's eyes were full of expectation. Then let's go to East Blue, Rog Town. Su Mu waved his hand, and the resurrection flew towards East Blue. Captain Su Mu, why don't you activate the shuttle function? Ace asked. It doesn't need to be so fast. According to the current flying speed of the resurrection, it will only take a few hours. Su Mu paused and said, wouldn't it be better to wait until we meet a few more companions on the road and reach Rog Town? What if the world government ambushes in Rog Town? Rayleigh worried. Haha, just ask. Su Mu took out her exclusive phone bug and dialed an extremely strange number. It seems that this number is very special. After a while, after 3 transfers, they finally joined the opposite party. Vero, what happened to the world government recently? Su Mu asked directly. Vero. The redhead's eyes widened. Others, on the other hand, were puzzled. Who is this Vero? Why did Su Mu so calmly and confidently ask this person about the news of world government? What is his identity? Lord Su Mu. Recently the world government's large forces have assembled in East Blue, ambushing near the town of Rog, waiting for you to throw yourself into the net. Vero replied respectfully from the phone bug. Hee. These old guys are really not simple, they know that I want to revive Luo Jia. Su Mu sighed. If he hadn't been so powerful, he would have suffered a lot if he rushed to Rog Town to revive Luo Jia. You should know all the ambushes, right? Spoil me secretly, and I will arrive in about 2 hours. Su Mu gave the order directly. Of order. After the other side finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Su Mu, who is he? Is he sure to help us? Rayleigh asked eagerly. Uncle Rayleigh, he is Vero, one of the highest power holders in the world government, one of the 5 old guys. Hongfa hurriedly explained. He knew a lot, so he hurried to explain. What? One of the 5 elders? Captain Su Mu, you. Whitebeard was shocked. This is the 5 elders, a man more powerful than Marshal Marine and Commander-in-Chief Kong. At present, the helm of the world government on the surface is these 5 old guys. They are already at the highest level of world government. Now, how can it not be shocking that Su Mu actually controls such a powerful enemy? In this way, they placed a powerful and reliable undercover agent at the top of the world government, buying a solid foundation for future wars. It's all trivial, and there will be more surprises in the future. Su Mu smiled lightly. To break into the enemy, he just needs to kill some important figures from the world government, and then resurrect them. You don't have to worry, even without Vero's internal support, we can stably revive Luo Jia. Because, we will have new partners, powerful guys to join us soon. The corners of Su Mu's mouth turned up, eyes full of anticipation. Everyone immediately understood what Su Mu was going to do, because not long ago, this guy summoned 5 strong men. This time, there are experts from other worlds. Golden Lion grinned and asked. He has a shadow now, because the new powerhouses who come will fight him for no reason. He is already the ceiling of combat power in this world, but the people who come here are all very special, with strange abilities, and their combat power is even more explosive, and he is often the one who suffers. That's right, let's welcome the first person. Su Mu said loudly. He activated the first summoning opportunity, his palm glowed, and he built the summoning gate in midair, opening the other world. The world connected by the gate of summoning is a modern city, but it is currently being destroyed. A giant centipede is wreaking havoc on the city. A cool white-haired robot and an old man are struggling to fight this giant centipede, but they are all at a disadvantage and are not opponents at all. Huh, Elder Centipede. Tornado frowned. He was a powerful weirdo, and even a superior hero might not be able to defeat him. If left unchecked, I'm afraid the city will be destroyed. The tornado flew up, trying to travel back through the gate of summoning to save the city. Tornado. No need, someone will come to quell this disaster immediately. Su Mu stopped the tornado. Sure enough, when the huge centipede was proud and was about to finish off those heroes, a bald head appeared. Facing the terrifying attack of Elder Centipede, he stood bald, motionless, with a calm expression, and slightly raised his red-gloved fist. Chapter 157 The Bald Demon Lord Saitama arrives. Advertise here. Elder Centipede's huge body covered the sky and the sun, so hard that even laser cannons couldn't break through the defense. Now, Elder Centipede swooped down from the sky, unstoppable, like a harvester. He wanted to kill everyone on the ground, including the superior heroes. At the critical moment, the bald head appeared. Huh, this guy is a little familiar. Tornado let out a light snort, a little familiar with that shiny bald head and Superman cape. Oh, isn't this the B-level hero? Tornado suddenly realized, and finally had a little impression of this guy. HMPH, even an S-level hero is no match for that monster. Is this idiot here to die? Tornado was full of contempt. This is not to say that she has a problem with her character, but her consistent style. She is arrogant and despises everyone. Captain Su Mu, is he the one you're talking about? Long Wan asked Su Mu with obvious doubts. Well, that's right, this bald head is very strong. Su Mu replied flatly. Strong. You say a B-level hero is very strong. What he faces is a monster that can't even beat a few S-level heroes. Tornado strongly disagrees with Su Mu's point of view. Tungwan, your telekinetic power is very strong, why is your perception so poor? His strength is unmatched by you. Su Mu laughed. PFF'd. Tornado laughed straight away. She is the second-ranked S-level hero in that world, only a little bit worse than the legendary number. One blast, and she is already a strong person at the top of the pyramid in that world. There are only a handful of people who can be stronger than her, and they are all famous. How could it be a B-level hero? How strong is this Elder Centipede? If it were you, are you sure you can win? If you can win, how long will it take? What price will you pay? Su Mu asked Tornado many questions in one breath. Huh, Tornado frowned. Elder Centipede is very strong. Although she has strong self-confidence, she has to pay a lot and consume a lot of time to defeat Elder Centipede. If you don't do it well, you will be seriously injured. Besides, with Elder Centipede's ability, if he didn't want to fight to the end, Tornado couldn't completely kill him. In the final analysis, she has the certainty of defeating Elder Centipede, but she needs to make a greater sacrifice. What, are you sorry to say? Su Mu smiled knowingly. Let's see, is this bald head smashed to pieces, or counterattack? Su Mu rubbed Long Wan's hair, making her look dissatisfied. However, since Su Mu looked at the bald head like this, she also became interested for a moment, wanting to see what abilities and expectations this bald head has. The centipede elder swooped down from the sky, the ground roared along the way, the big trees and lawns on the ground were flying, and were crushed by the huge waves. This momentum was absolutely terrifying. However, the bald head just raised his hand, clenched his fist, and then bombarded the centipede elder rushing towards the sky. Tornado wanted to despise this bald idiot. However, the words came to an abrupt end. Because, that ordinary fist burst out with terrifying power. Boom! A huge earthquake resounded through the sky. Elder Centipede's body, which was bigger than a skyscraper, was disintegrating, and the scales and body, which were harder than steel, were directly shattered. In a blink of an eye, the huge body, only the skeleton of the clothes, told the miserable scene of Elder Centipede under this punch. 1 punch. Long Wan opened his mouth wide, looking unbelievable. The guy he despised easily smashed the powerful Elder Centipede into scum with just one punch. Is there anything more shocking than this? It is impossible to imagine a tornado, who else in that world can do it? Even for the mysterious explosion, he fought extremely fiercely with Elder Centipede back then. Although he defeated the enemy, he was also injured. But now with this bald head, with an easy punch, everything in the enemy will be reduced to ashes. Not bad, this guy's strength is great. Uchiha Madara's eyes glowed and his hands started to itch. Long Wan looked at Su Mu in a daze, and couldn't help but admire the captain. He is not from that world, why is he so familiar with bald heads? Su Mu smiled lightly and said, I'm familiar with you too. Su Mu's laugh made the tornado's hairs stand on end. Who the hell is this guy? You, what do you know about me? Tornado asked cautiously. Your ability, character, sister, etc. Su Mu said casually. Sister. Do you still know my sister? Long Wan looked at Su Mu strangely. She is a very confident guy, the same with her younger sister. However, there is only one aspect that makes her never catch up with her sister. That's the figure. The younger sister's figure can be said to be one of the best in that world, but she is still a little Lolita. This is simply heartbreaking. Of course. But there are things I'm not familiar with you. Su Mu raised the corners of her mouth with a wicked smile. Where? Tornado asked curiously. Are you wearing underwear? Su Mu asked softly. Boom. Su Mu was directly blown away by the power of the tornado. In the world of One Punch behind the Gate of Summoning, after the Bald Demon King easily dealt with Elder Centipede, a systematic voice and instructions appeared in his mind, just like when other people were summoned. He turned his head and saw the summoning gate in the void. Oh, it seems that I have to leave this world temporarily. He sighed helplessly. This weekend, the supermarket will have a big discount promotion, it seems that I will miss it. Uchiha Madara did it directly, and he was a housekeeper when he made a move. There was a loud noise in the sky, and two burning giant great fireballs fell down one after the other, heading straight for Saitama. Genos, the teacher is leaving for a while, you have to protect yourself. After the bald head said, he stepped into the door of summoning and disappeared into that world. Su Mu happily greets Saitama, who is one of his great strengths. Are you a circus magician? This is very similar to my ability, but there is a bigger meteorite. Although Fujitora was blind, he clearly felt the condition of the sky. The two fireballs were like a small meteorite. Two big islands smashed down, very oppressive. Baldhead, you're hiding deep enough. Tornado stared at Saitama strangely. The second-ranked hero girl in the S-class, I didn't expect you to be here. Saitama looked at Tornado in surprise, completely unexpected that in another world, he could also meet Old Town. Teacher. Not far away, Genos hurriedly called to stop the bald head. At the Gate of Summoning, the Bald Demon King Saitama has arrived, and what greets him is a huge pirate ship in an endless ocean. Saitama, welcome to One Piece World, I am your captain Su Mu. He took a step, stepped into the air, and walked towards the Gate of Summoning. Uchiha Madara stepped forward excitedly, facing Saitama, and Rinnegan started directly. Saitama looked up at the terrifying abnormality in the sky, still with a dead fish-eyed expression, and said to Madara in a neutral manner. Susanoo suddenly appeared, and the huge energy Shinigami stood directly in front of Saitama. In contrast, Saitama was like a baby facing a giant. Tengai Shinsei, the strongest person. Interesting. Let me weigh it. Everyone, his name is Saitama, and he comes from the same world as Tornado, but he is the strongest person in that world. Su Mu introduced everyone enthusiastically. Chapter 150 Saitama's Strength. Advertise here. In the sky, two huge fireballs were burning, oppressing the air, and there was a sense of great oppression. Even though there was still some distance from the ground at this time, they still set off a strong wind, making everyone seem unable to stand. This monster's ability is too special. I haven't seen him do anything. Whitebeard clicked his tongue, staring at the vision in the sky and said in shock. He himself is a ceiling-level combat power, but at this time he expressed his sincere shock at Uchiha Madara's strength. In his opinion, he was not sure how to block these two huge island-like meteorites. You can't fight head-on, you can only dodge. Rocks also echoed. This blow by Uchiha Madara also made him Alexander. Hide. Where to hide? Enel teased. His observation haki is strong enough to feel the pressure Saitama is facing. The two huge meteorites in the sky, in addition to their huge shocking power, also have an invisible locking force, making it impossible for the attacked object to dodge. Even if you move to dodge, the two meteorites will change their displacement randomly, always aiming at the target of attack. Madara is too ruthless, isn't he? The new bald guy, although his strength looks good, is not good right now. Rayleigh looked at Su Mu and joked, aren't you going to intervene? If this bald head is killed, wouldn't your work be in vain? Su Mu withdrew her gaze towards the sky, shook her head, and said, I usually wouldn't stop you from fighting directly. Besides, in the current situation, I don't need to make a move. You mean, this bald head can resolve the crisis? Whitebeard asked slightly shocked. Doesn't that mean that the new bald head is at least not weaker than him? If he burst out with the most powerful strength, using the shock ability, and exhausted himself, he could completely block it. Just watch it carefully, it won't be interesting if I say it. Su Mu folded her arms, with an expression of watching a play. I think we should prepare for it. If this guy can't stop it, these two huge meteorites will still hit us. Besides, even if he can barely block it and smash the meteorite, the large pieces that fall the pieces are enough to make us miserable. Whitebeard stood firm, his fist clenched tightly, and the spherical disc formed by the shock ability had gathered on the fist, ready to deliver a powerful blow at any time. At this time, the meteorite in the sky was already close at hand, only a few hundred meters away. At this time, its huge appearance made everyone feel even more pressured. On the surface of the sea, huge waves were raging, and the white water vapor was evaporated by the hot temperature. The pirate ship Resurrection was swaying in the sea, and the sky above it was almost covered by two meteorites that were getting closer. The huge wind blew so hard that everyone couldn't open their eyes. Those with weaker strength hurriedly hid in the cabin, and only those who were sure to resist the two meteorites remained on the deck. At this time, Saitama's cloak was raised, and his expression like dead fish eyes finally revealed a hint of excitement. What a huge meteorite, and it's still on fire. This is not something a circus magician can do. He slowly raised his right hand, showing a serious face. If it was in his world, he wouldn't feel this way, and wouldn't be so serious. Just because he came here, he felt that his strength had been oppressed and restricted by the invisible, and he couldn't exert his full strength. So to be conservative, take it seriously. Otherwise, he would be laughed at by that green-haired brat again. Here we come, Su Mu said. Why didn't you feel his preparation and moves? Did he just want to fight with his fists? This is not the centipede. Rayleigh frowned. Although Elder Centipede has a huge body, he is far from being as big as a meteorite, and his sense of oppression is far from being as strong as a meteorite. He didn't believe that someone could block such a meteorite with just his fist. Even Garp, known as the Iron Fist, the ceiling of combat power in this world, can't do it. This guy. Long Wan's eyes widened. Others may not be able to understand the power of Elder Centipede, but as a person in that world, she has a deep feeling and recognition. That punch directly shattered Elder Centipede, leaving her still in shock. Just ask, she can't do it. Therefore, in the face of Uchiha Madara's meteorite ult, she didn't think the bald-headed demon king would be unable to hold it. This kind of threat and power, if she is ruthless, she can block it. What's more, this bald head. In the past, she had despised the bald-headed B-class hero. But when he saw the scene of him killing Elder Centipede, the impression in his heart was completely overturned. At this time, two huge fireball meteorites rushed down, only less than 100 meters left, and the flames burned everyone. Whoosh! The bald demon king jumped up and charged towards the meteorite. He raised his fist and punched seriously. Boom! It exploded suddenly, and the loud noise shook the sky. Everyone was ready to avoid the meteorite, but found that the meteorite did not fall. No fragments fell. In the sky, compared to the meteorite, Saitama, who is as small as dust, is like the god of war, standing still. And in front of his tiny fist, the huge meteorite was full of cracks. Click. The cracks are getting denser and denser, like spider webs. Boom. There was a muffled sound, like a grinder crushing brittle objects. The first meteorite shattered directly, like dust and smoke, was blown into the sky by the violent fist wind, and went towards the second meteorite. Everyone was shocked to see that the terrifying fist wind swept towards the second and larger meteorite, causing space turmoil and white smoke to fill the air. When the white smoke is blown away a little, what is left? Nothing at all. The second meteorite was even worse than the first meteorite. It disappeared without leaving any dust. It's a monster. Whitebeard gaped. Others said he was a monster, but at this moment, the way he looked at Q was exactly the same as how others looked at him. No. Why didn't I find this guy so powerful before? Tornado stared and found that Saitama didn't feel tired at all, and was very relaxed. You're weird, Saitama asked, staring at Uchiha Madara. Because at this time, Uchiha Madara has very special eyes, which makes Q mistakenly think that he has turned into a weirdo. Uchiha Madara frowned. From Saitama's eyes, he saw a deep threat, even death-like killing intent. Although the rules of this world still suppress him, it doesn't seem to be as great as Tornado, Uchiha Madara and others. Everyone, this is our new companion. His name is Saitama. He is a hero. He belongs to the same world as Tornado. You have seen his strength. As for his abilities, he doesn't have one, but his fists are hard enough. He can't wait to have a fight with the world government. Let's go. Kaido yelled excitedly. Because of Saitama's strength, it seems that the ceiling has been broken. The arrival of Saitama gave Su Mu a feeling of shock and was even more pleasantly surprised. Su Mu introduced to everyone that he officially welcomed a new member. Q. I misunderstood, he is not a weirdo, he just has special eyes. Su Mu quickly explained. Because, most of the other people are very strong because of their special abilities, but Saitama relies on basic training to make himself ridiculously strong. Su Mu seems to have found a breakthrough. Could it be that instead of relying on external objects, only one's own strength can break through the suppression of the ceiling? Su Mu smiled triumphantly. With a wave of her hand, the gate of summoning appeared again. Behind the gate, a new world emerged. This made Su Mu have to suspect that it was all due to the special reason of Saitama's practice. He was afraid that if he was a second late in explaining, Uchiha Madara might be in danger. Welcome, our team is stronger, and now the chances of rescuing Emperor Ming are greater. Whitebeard laughed. It's not over yet, let's welcome the next member. His hesitation made Saitama take a step forward, walking towards him, even raising his fist. But how many people are strong on their own? Chapter 151 The Arrival of Kakarot, the decisive battle begins. Advertise here. Su Mu got a total of 5 chances to summon independently. He gave Saitama the first chance to summon, and the summons have been completed so far. Now he's going to use his second chance to summon. With a wave of his hand, the gate of summoning appeared again, and behind the gate, a brand new world appeared. Gia, who is coming this time? Golden Lion smiled excitedly. Not only him, but everyone else is looking forward to it. Behind the gate of summoning, the new world is familiar to everyone, and everyone looks at Aizen in unison. This is the Shinigami world. In other words, the people Su Mu actively summoned this time are people from this world. Hey, who is Captain Su Mu calling for? The old guy in the captain? Or the guy with great potential, Byakuya Kuchiki? Aizen looked at Su Mu with interest. As he was about to betray, the main contacts were with the Shinigami. As for Shu, most of them are created by him or his subordinates, and they are not considered by him for the time being. According to what he knew about Su Mu, this guy would definitely summon powerful people. The overall captain is undoubtedly the first choice. In addition, Byakuya Kuchiki has great potential. As for one household, main character, sorry, he never heard of it. Hey, you're half right. Su Mu chuckled. He is indeed more interested in Byakuya Kuchiki, so he must be called this time. Only this time, he's summoning two people from the Shinigami world at once. The other person is not the old guy, the captain. Su Mu actually likes Zaraki Kenpachi very much. That is a very special guy. He is very arrogant, has strong self-confidence, likes to use knives, but often he doesn't use brilliant moves and abilities, but cuts people straight. His Zanpakuto is always in Shikai state. I haven't seen him use Bankai. But no one can underestimate his strength. Even without using Bankai, his strength is still at the captain level. Some people suspect that he can't Bankai, but no one knows exactly how. What Su Mu appreciates is his character and fighting style, as well as his expectations for Bankai. Behind the gate of summoning, the two figures gradually became clear. The summoning this time was very direct and did not reflect other people or things in the Shinigami world. The two of them were given orders by the system and came directly to the door of the summoning. Oh, so it's this guy. Aizen was surprised to see Zaraki Kenpachi. In his eyes, the captain is the soul of the team. Apart from his strength, he is also a man of deep resourcefulness. It's the type he admires, and it's also similar to his style. As for Zaraki Kenpachi, that's a whole other genre. Straightforward, simple, brutal. This time, without waiting for everyone to test Zaraki Kenpachi, Su Mu immediately summoned the remaining three people. Whoosh whoosh. The three people who came were all unfamiliar to everyone. But all from one world. Dragon Ball World, Piccolo, Vegeta, and Kakarot. So far, Su Mu's 5 self-acquired places have been exhausted. But before he was introduced, the resurrection had reached the Valley of the Gods. There was no temptation, no tricks. As soon as the resurrection appeared, it was attacked like a storm. The huge bombardment hidden in the space is constantly bombarding, like the end of the world. Even though the resurrection had opened its shield, it was still shaking violently under the intense shelling. Fortunately, the shield was not breached. This made many people breathe a sigh of relief. This kind of bombardment is many times more powerful than Buster Call, not to mention an island, even a country can be easily wiped out. This is obviously one of the trump cards of the world government, and it is rarely used at ordinary times, but is used at critical moments. For example, at this time, Su Mu came to the Valley of the Gods to save people, and the world government had already guessed, of course it was to catch Su Mu by surprise. It's just that they didn't expect that the defense of the resurrection was so amazing. If Su Mu and others have been huddled in the resurrection, even the world government may be helpless for a while. But obviously, this is not Su Mu's style. He came here today to save the big brother Ming Wang. Moreover, he has already made sufficient preparations in advance, inviting countless experts from this world, and even top 10 experts from other worlds. With such strength, he has absolute confidence. The battle of the Valley of the Gods is not so much a rescue battle as it is a decisive battle to destroy the world government. Su Mu had a premonition that there would be a break with the world government here. Everyone, at this moment, there is no unnecessary nonsense, kill me. Standing on the bow of the boat, Su Mu issued a heavy and loud declaration of war. Boom. The air was surging, and behind Su Mu, the terrifying oars of all the powerhouses were released, forming a hole, and the waves swept across the sky. And in front of them, a huge island suddenly appeared on the wide sea surface, and densely packed fighter jets were circling in the sky above the island. Around the island, huge bombardments were aimed at Su Mu and others. In the middle of the island, on the huge square, a crowd of black crowds are ready to go. They are all in black uniforms, and there is a palpitating atmosphere that makes people sick. In the middle of the square, a giant-like figure stood, wrapped in a black robe, unable to see its face clearly. But I can feel that there seems to be a black hole that can swallow everything. All men in black are headed by this, including the 5 elders. Who is this? The answer came out. Hula la la la, the hidden strength of the world government is really terrifying. There are too many people here. Whitebeard sighed. That's why I know the truth but feel helpless. Luo Jia explained. It seems that I still underestimated the world government. They didn't pay attention to me at all in the battle of the Valley of the Gods. Rox sighed. Even though we have a strong army now, we are indeed far behind in terms of numbers. Rayleigh's eyes were serious. Hee. Aizen sneered, as if he didn't agree with Rayleigh's words. What's the use of having too many people, it's just a group of ants. Uchiha Madara raised the corner of his mouth. Are there so many enemies? I'm so excited, I can have a good fight, Kakarot. Vegeta was excited. Hey, Kakarot was noncommittal, already gearing up excitedly. This is a stark contrast. The Aborigines from the world of One Piece and the experts from Laozi's other world have different feelings towards this battle. People like Whitebeard Luogia feel tricky, while people like Uchiha Madara don't take it seriously at all. Hey, the new kiddos, don't hold me back for a while. Uchiha Madara squinted at Monkey King and the others. In his eyes, the newcomers had immature faces and looked like children. Who do you call a brat? Vegeta looked coldly. Hey, did I say something wrong? Madara didn't care about Vegeta's angry gaze. Hey, Madara, we're all companions, so there's no need to be like this. Senju Hashirama couldn't stand Madara's strength, and persuaded him to make peace. We have all proved ourselves. The three newcomers are weak, they are not qualified to be my companions if they do not face themselves strong. Uchiha Madara held his head high, with a look of contempt. It seems that before killing the enemy, I have to beat you up first. Monkey King looked at Madara. Haha, are all the little devils so arrogant now? Have you ever seen me dance? Madara stepped forward, pushing towards Monkey King. Not far away, the red hair elbowed Su Mu and asked, Captain Su Mu, the thorns you invited seem to be fighting among themselves. They haven't fought with the enemy yet, but they are going to have a big fight. Are you going to stop it? Su Mu smiled faintly and shook her head. Among the strong ones, they need to use their strength to prove themselves, so let them make trouble. They won't die anyway, so it doesn't affect anything. Su Mu said lightly, not caring about the upcoming battle of his crew. The red-haired spread his hands, looking helpless. The captain led the team, which is really unique. The battle is imminent, and he doesn't even care about the infighting among his subordinates at all. This is really weird, unheard of. Whizzing. The sound of breaking through the sky came, and Uchiha Madara and Monkey King moved at the same time, and the battle between them officially kicked off. The other people on the boat looked back at the Valley of the Gods, and started to stare at the battle with great interest. Anyway, Su Mu didn't deliberately hide his whereabouts, so they didn't need to take the initiative to attack the enemy, they might as well watch the combat performance while waiting for the enemy's arrival. However, the battle was far from being as long as everyone expected. It can be said that it ended very quickly. Uchiha Madara and Sun Wukong just passed one move, and the battle came to an abrupt end. Because, Uchiha Madara's proud ultimate move was smashed into scum by Monkey King's punch, and Uchiha Madara was pierced through the body. This, Senju Hashirama was dumbfounded. Except for Su Mu and Vegeta, everyone else was stunned. The strength of Uchiha Madara is obvious to all, almost the ceiling of this world. However, he was defeated with just one punch in this little man's hand. This kid just changed his body and punched him ferociously. Su Mu chuckled, secretly happy in her heart. The strength shown by Kakarot made him very excited. It seems that it has exceeded the ceiling. This made Su Mu wonder, did the ceiling go up? He walked in front of Uchiha Madara, and the power of resurrection surged, allowing Uchiha Madara to recover from the wound. HMPH. Uchiha Madara snorted coldly, feeling very upset, this is embarrassing. In this regard, Kakarot sighed, looking uninterested. 2. Weak. Vegeta didn't give face, and directly hurt. Don't be complacent, I was careless just now, and I feel that my strength is improving. Soon, I have the confidence to defeat him. Uchiha Madara pointed at Monkey King. He is also very strange, his strength seems to be improving, constantly approaching his strength in the world of Hokage. Okay, let's leave it at that. I wanted to fight the world government directly, but I didn't expect them to come too slowly. Then I will introduce to you. These three are from the world of Dragon Ball. They are Kakarot, Vegeta and Piccolo. Su Mu pointed to Sun Wukong and others and introduced to everyone. Don't doubt their strength, will the people I invite be weak? At this time, everyone involuntarily looked at Sister Bauer. Hey, do you think she is weak? Tell you, her real age is at least 1 or 200 years old. Think about it, are you still alive at 1 or 200 years old? Su Mu's words shocked everyone. This little girl is so old. Could it be that she is immortal? This is a little scary. Who can resist the erosion of time? Being able to live long is also a terrifying ability. Okay, get ready to fight, the lackeys of the world government, here we come. Su Mu turned around and looked at the dense black-clothed crowd not far away. They were carrying flying devices and flew in the air. Above them, world government's Air Force fighter jets roared and flew over. Chapter 160 New World, the finale. Advertise here. Su Mu came to the Valley of the Gods with his power and officially started the decisive battle with the world government. In order to rescue the Big Brother, he also wanted to completely destroy the rule of the world government. Now, his strength is enough, and he doesn't want to wait any longer. On the resurrection, everyone came here in a hurry, even the Valley of the Gods didn't care at all. By Su Mu's side are not only the top experts in this world, but also the experts from other universes. This force is unprecedented, and it is also unimagined by the world government. The decisive battle begins. The men in black from the world government have filled the sky, and each one is very powerful. This is their confidence. And fighter planes took off into the sky with powerful firepower, ready to cover the resurrection at any time. Gia ha ha. These fighters are too weak, let the resurrection number kill them. Golden Lion laughed and couldn't wait. Let's go to war, completely destroy the Valley of the Gods, and get rid of the rule of the world government. Su Mu gave the captain's order. Whoosh whoosh. All the strong men flew out of the resurrection, rushed to the Valley of Gods, and started a battle with the man in black. Not far away, although a large number of marine warships came, they just watched from the sidelines. Only Garp came out, but he did not choose to stand on the side of the world government, but came to Su Mu's side. In the other direction, hundreds of warships sailed, with revolutionary symbols on their flags. The revolutionary army led by Long also came. At this critical moment, how could they be missing? The world government is all out here, waiting for Su Mu and the revolutionary army here. They are confident to kill each other because they have ancient weapon. And the secret about ancient weapon was correspondingly unraveled. It turns out that there are two trees in this world, one named Adam Tree, which is a sun tree, responsible for the light of this world. One is called the Eve Tree. The tree is full of forbidden fruits, but it uses all kinds of strange powers, so it is also called devil fruit by this world. Correspondingly, the Eve Tree is also called the devil fruit tree. Uranus was born to protect the devil fruit tree. It hovers above the devil fruit tree for protection all the year round, maintaining all the order of the sky and the order of this world. Uranus, the strongest ancient weapon. It is it that changes the sea. After it was controlled by the world government, it used its ability to divide the originally unified sea into 4 parts and use the red line to isolate it. Thus setting off the era of division, let this sea begin to struggle. The world government is governed by absolute power, but it has always let the pirates go, just not wanting to make this sea peaceful. Only when external forces continue to deplete themselves can the world government's rule last long. The other two of the 3 ancient weapons, one of which is named Poseidon, the current Poseidon is Shirahoshi, who can command the sea and sea kings, and is currently in the Su Mu camp. The other is Pluton, which is made of the torso of Adam Yangshu, and is indestructible. Pluton's attack power is so powerful that it can smash an island with one shot, and it can also smash red line with it. Pluton, like Uranus, has a mind of its own. It's just that Pluton has been lurking, basically not showing up. Pluton once appeared in Alabasta, but that was only a cover, and now he sleeps under the sea in Wano Kuni. Regarding this point, Su Mu was inductive at the beginning, but was rejected by Pluton. The army of the world government has also assembled and is waiting in the Valley of the Gods. Su Mu wants to rescue the big brother, while IM wants to completely wipe out the restless elements of the D family and consolidate the rule. In the far sky, dense black shadows appeared. Those were huge flying insects. On the upper hand of this group of bugs, a mysterious black figure appeared, staring at Su Mu and others. It's IM. Luo Jia said. He sensed the existence of this at the beginning, and in Raftel, he already knew the existence of IM through the disappearing historical texts. This person has lived for nearly 1,000 years. What kind of monster is this? He was also shocked at the time, but only after reading the detailed introduction did he understand. Is there any secret behind IM? Su Mu asked. Therefore, Luo Jia announced the origin of world government and IM's identity for the first time. It turns out that in the original world, the sea was a unified domain, and there was no red line. However, because of devil fruit, humans are cursed after stealing food. Therefore, Uranus cooperated with Poseidon to have today's red line, 4 seas and Grand Line. But since Heian, human estrangement has arisen, conflicts have continued, wars have continued, and people have lost their lives. At this time, the moonman Joey Boye came to the earth, saw the current situation here, and determined to change the world and usher in peace and beauty. He possesses unique powers, joy and advanced scientific knowledge, so he will quickly integrate with some big clans. With his unique personality charm, he established a huge kingdom and became the king. But he didn't wear a crown, but a straw hat, which represented his equality with everyone. He wants to build a harmonious and unified ideal country, so red line must be eradicated and the sea of positive films will return to unity. So he cut down the Atom Tree to make the Pluton battleship, and wanted to sink the red line, so that the feature film could truly become a One Piece. But the controller of Pluton will lose his life, and the person who controls must have powerful power to break the bondage. So Joey Boye called together the strong men from all over the world, genetically modified them, and endowed them with the power to listen to the sea and fight powerfully. These people come from different races and families. Joey Boye added a D to their names, which is the most original origin of the D family. As for the later battle between the D clan and the world government, that was the story of Joey Boye. Afterwards, Joey Boye chooses one of those special people and uses the Op Fruit's eternal life ability to endow the controller with eternal life, allowing her to control Pluton. This person with eternal life is named IM. It was also she who betrayed and killed Joey Boye, and then established the world government according to the organization. She controls 2 ancient weapons, Uranus and Pluton. The truth of the story afterwards is that the struggle between the D clan and the world government ended with the D clan's defeat. This world is finally ruled by the world government for hundreds of years. The history of the disappearance is actually the history of Joey Boye's huge kingdom. This is the history of Im's betrayal. Of course, she did not allow this history to exist, so she directly obliterated and covered up this history. Now the army is assembled, and the battle is imminent. When Su Mu heard the historical truth, she couldn't help feeling emotional. So many people are fighting for the ideals of this world, they are the pioneers of this change, they are called the D clan, and the end result is that many people die tragically. Including his father, mother and others. Of the 8 major families back then, only a few descendants still have their bloodlines. The instigator of all this turned out to be Yimu, which was never expected. Su Mu was shocked. He discovers that one of his devil fruit abilities has accidentally awakened. It's the resurrection fruit ability. Su Mu was pleasantly surprised. As long as the fruit wakes up, he can resurrect people who died in history. This is equivalent to giving him an infinite army of undead. Among them, of course, countless members of the D family are also included. The battle broke out. The world government's combat power is strong, and IM himself controls 2 ancient weapons, which immediately put Su Mu and the Revolutionary Army Company in a passive position. If Su Mu hadn't summoned so many strong men from Otherworld, he would have been defeated in this wave of contact. Isn't the strong enough? Then let's start. Let's resurrect. Su Mu's gluttonous power surged all over his body, constantly devouring all the power around him, even the power of his companions. He needs to accumulate enough power to forcibly resurrect the strong. Everyone knew his intentions, so they took the initiative to transfer their power to him. The power of resurrection came to the world. Su Mu shouted. He raised his hands, and a light curtain appeared in his hands, which was constructed by the power of resurrection. The light curtain shot to the sky, and then sprinkled from the sky to the boundless sea. Rumble. Suddenly, the sea area was churning, and the earth was shaking. The dead characters stood up from the bottom of the sea and rushed out from the Valley of the Gods. They are resurrected. Among them, there are Su Mu's father, mother, sister, and other strong members of the D family, such as Garp's father and so on. Fighting broke out again, fierce and frantic. It has to be said that IM is powerful. Jalen, Uranus and Pluton are also extremely powerful. Killing all the people in the Su Mu camp continuously, they still have an advantage in terms of combat effectiveness. But on Su Mu's side, there is a powerful bug. The bug is Su Mu itself. His resurrection power is awakened. Even if the strong around him die in battle, he can be resurrected by him, fighting again and again. This battle lasted for a full 49 days before it finally came to an end. I am dead. Uranus and Pluton are maimed. Su Mu finally emerged victorious. The world pattern will change, and the sea will be subverted. New world will also be born under the leadership of Su Mu.